Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Trader TV Live. Futures in positive territory with the NQ up 0.25%. Likewise, here with the ES up 0.26 and the Dow not behind here, up 0.5% with the Russell 2000 outperforming here for all four major indexes. 0.6 to start the morning. Crypto, also Bitcoin, above 95,000 to start the day. Again, up 1.5%. We'll keep an eye out on this. Lots to talk about today, guys. We've got Wedbush analyst predictions for their top AI tech winners for 2025. We'll be talking about those. Nvidia, obviously included. Palantir, Tesla, some of the names listed there. We also have Faraday Futures and Mullen in focus, as well as SMCI and IBIT with MSTR as well, Adara. Lots of small cap cappers to talk about. APM, VRME, and ONCO. Happy New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year's Eve, Sharif. Yeah, thank you. I'm always happy to be here. And I think also there's, as you said here, really a lot of small cap type moves. If you're looking for mega caps, a lot of it's going to be tied up in that Wedbush story, which we'll be giving to you at 9 a.m. during our rundown. But Dan Ives here highlighting quite a few of these Mag 7 tech names and AI names in general. But interestingly enough, Meta and Amazon not on that list.
Right, yeah, that we'll have to talk about that. Two major exclusions from that list. We'll keep tabs on that. Nat Gas, after having a big day yesterday, over 20% at the highs, down 4 1/3 to start the morning over here. We'll keep an eye out on all the major averages as well as some of these runners, guys. Obi in for Sean today as he's got a day off. Good morning, boys.
Yes, sir. And
Good morning.
Look, it's Happy New Year to everybody, or Happy
New
Year's Eve. But if you're in Australia and some parts of the world, you're already starting to celebrate. Just a reminder, it is a full day of trade today. It is not a half day. So the markets are open all the way till 4 o'clock. We'll have the aftermarket show just like normal, all that kind of good stuff. What's with the fail? Who hit that fail?
Come on.
Come on. Yeah, so we'll have a lot of fun. Obviously, it's crazy. It's crazy to expect that you would see volatility on a day like today, but historically there are good opportunities. Now the overall market doesn't usually move a ton on the last trading day of the year. It's actually moves much more significantly on average on the first trading day of the new year. But you've got to look at these small caps. Whether it's the quantum names, Rigetti had that ridiculous move. The V-shaped recovery yesterday. You've got Faraday, which we were just actually looking at their F91 vehicle, which I still think looks kind of weird. That's up 50% and continuing to break higher. I got to say it, Mullen's apparently up as well, so that's starting to go. So there's a lot to watch. I think you want to focus on names that have outsized moves and names that are doing good volume, names that are at key price levels. Try to keep it to that because the futures might not have a massive day. At least historically, that's been the case. So even as I say it, Faraday just hit 480 and continues to rally. And worth mentioning for anyone chasing this, it halted right away at the open in yesterday's trade, and then ended up pulling back like a good 25% and then rallying again. So I would suspect there is going to be a dip in this stock. But yeah, lots to watch. I think it should be an exciting session, Obi, but you might have to look at least at a couple of smaller cap names.
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. I'm kind of, we talked about this. Did my scans this morning, and I'm like, all right, nothing's really kind of standing out like crazy. Yes, small caps are definitely in play. FFIE is going. Yeah, there's something about that. You're right. There's something about that vehicle. I don't know what.
Well,
yeah,
here it is.
Let's pull it up. This is.
You guys tell me, because there's something about this that just looks off.
Like, are we on Mars there? Like, what's like futuristic alliance?
Well, that's the idea.
Kind of like a landscape.
That doesn't look. That's not Mars. Obviously, it's not Mars.
Something's a little fishy. It looks kind of like a
meteor
fish
or something.
I don't know. It's got a
fish,
like the head of like a. I don't know.
There's just something in the main body of it. I don't know.
You think because it's missing handles?
That's not. It's not that.
I don't know.
Whatever. You guys tell me. You think this thing is cool or not? Certainly, it doesn't really matter to the stock price at the current moment because it looks like it's just a squeeze. I know you're a fan of it. I know you're a fan there, Sharif, because it's got the suicide doors.
It's got the suicide doors. Yeah. No, it should be interesting. Last day of the year. Yeah, not really seeing too much, but sometimes those are. Yeah, here we go. Those are the doors right there. looking interesting. So some
get
dude is doing
inside
some review on that. Yeah, look at those chairs, looking very comfy. Wow, look at that's a nice backside.
Okay, that's
That's a nice backside.
Yeah, that'll kind of work.
But the question becomes, will we see a nice backside on FFIE coming in today? I should get on those borrows, Neil. But yeah, no, great.
You just reminded me.
It's been a great year. That's what I wanted to say. End of the year today. So happy New Year to those who are celebrating in other places around the world. We're going to be doing that later tonight. Yeah.
You hit them clubs, aren't you?
Maybe, perhaps. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah, maybe going out with some friends. We'll see.
So basically, hide your kids, hide your wives if you're in Toronto, because Obi's going to be out partying tonight and doing that thing. He's doing his thing, which I can't hate whatsoever, man. You just keep it real, man. We know you're out in them streets. Have a little bit of fun.
we out here in these streets. Sidewalks saved my life.
Yes.
So what I wanted to say was, yeah, definitely we want to be taking some time out, obviously not during the day, but like during this week to kind of reflect on like some of the best opportunities during this year, right? So it's been quite a wild year, quite a wild ride in 2024, and I think we're poised for continued kind of continued moves and opportunities as well. We're going into the new presidency with these crazy what do you call it? Anticipatory moves. A lot of people pricing things in. We got crypto running, going into Trump's presidency. There's a lot of Trump trades that are going
Tariff
on.
concerns.
Tariffs as well. So a lot of opportunities to come as well. But yeah, no, I think this year we had some great opportunities as well. So a good time to kind of do some reflecting. But on the day today, I don't really see anything too crazy. I was looking at MSTR for a little bit of continuation. That thing keeps on going as Bitcoin rises past that 95 mark right now.
As you say it, it's a little weird because, again, you've got Bitcoin breaking sort of not major resistance, but breaking resistance. Whether you call it, prior resistance is the better term. Thanks, Obi. Like, it's breaking that 95, and it did this yesterday too. Like, you held 92, and then you were consolidating and breaking higher, and MSTR was nowhere to be seen in that move. Well, that move just now on Bitcoin that you just saw breaking 95, breaking that resistance, well, MSTR is doing absolutely nothing. It's going sideways. It's not above that dump zone. I think sometimes you just got to let the trades come to you. To me, this 320 is an over-under on MSTR. I was perfectly willing to say we should be along if Bitcoin breaks out, then I think this can go. But if Bitcoin's going and it's not, then the trend on the daily is not a good one. I mean, it's lost the 50-period moving average. Well, certainly, if it's not going to break back and retest the 50-period and it's not going to rally with this move to 95, you got to start thinking the other way, unfortunately, here for MSTR. It looked like a rebound potential day for it, but I don't like the fact that it didn't go just there. So lots to watch. Obviously, we'll keep you attuned. Obviously, you want to keep your ear to the ground. And be careful on those small caps, because I think one of them yesterday was our VSN did drop an offering this morning. We all know that's a possibility with these small cap runners. So yeah, they're fun for trades, but you don't want to get caught, as you say, on the backside. Well,
yeah, you don't want to get caught long while they do like an offering, obviously. But something I do remember from was it 18, 19, 20? Whenever anybody would start doing these intraday offerings, it becomes kind of like a trend, almost being like everyone kind of wants to hop on that bandwagon, being like, all right, well, you know, is this the time where end of the year maybe people start filing for offerings? I don't know, but you gotta check if they do have a shelf or something in the pipeline. If it's available for them to do an offering, then yeah, that's definitely some risk that you'll be taking on. But that's some research definitely you'll have to do if you are trading some of these small to mid caps on the day, on the week, and yeah, if they're starting, and it should be interesting. Post offering backside is also quite nice.
Post offering, yeah. I'll leave we have to temper it on the backside comments here. Let's get back to the desk before I say it one more time.
All right, guys, Super Microcomputer, the most volatile stock in the S&P 500. this year. Let's talk a little bit about what happened with SMCI. It opened up the year at a hardy price of $28 a share, and by the time we hit March, we were at $119 a share during that AI investment surge. It dropped sharply, though, this past October after Ernst & Young, its auditor, basically pulled out of the job, losing over 30% in one day. It reached a low of $18 this past November, but it did recover to about $31 and change, and that's where we find ourselves right here. Believe it or not, we're actually still up on the year on SMCI, about 9.33%. It's up 1 1/3 this morning. Adara, what an interesting stock this one was.
It's been a really interesting one. As we said, we're both added and removed from the NASDAQ in the same year. I actually have this chart here that I made for Trader TV Research. You can check us out on X, TTV Research. And this is actually being posted. I'm going to do one for Palantir as well. Expect that probably out today. But as you can see here, we had this new record high. We make January 19th. February 16th, we made new all-time highs above 1,000 and dropped 20% in the same session. So this stock has kind of been known for volatility. Then, of course, we have our end here of the year, this removal from the NASDAQ 100, Palantir taking its place. So really interesting look here for Supermicro. If you thought it couldn't happen, it probably happened to SMCI this year.
Yeah, and guys, we're not out of the woods quite yet. They still have till February 25th of this year to file the reports for the fiscal year ending in 2024. They still haven't filed that, so delisting still not off the table. We'll have to wait and see when February 25th comes along what the position is, boys. SMCI up 1 1/3.
It's one of those where I get it. There's stocks that had good years and fantastic. Palantir, obviously Nvidia had another fantastic year. Undercover, Netflix had a ridiculously good year. But there's no question that SMCI had the most unique year. I've been trading over 20 years, and there isn't a stock in my memory or at any time that I've traded that had a year like SMCI's. And if you went back, do you still have that up? Can we just maybe show that again? Because there's one thing you want to point out on that chart, if we could. Yeah, and if just look when it was added to the S&P 500, and then look when it was added to the NASDAQ 100. Like, basically, two usual positive catalysts were like TSN turning points. It was basically turning into a head and shoulders in the S&P edition, and then like a flat bottom break after it got added to the NASDAQ 100. You just don't see this. And obviously things aren't going well for them. A lot of people are going to look to this as maybe one of those potential, let's take a shot rebound type plays. It's an 18% short float. I think you got to wait that one out until maybe there's some kind of a positive catalyst on it. But when you look at SMCI here, at least right now in the last 2 weeks here, like the back half of December. If we come to my chart now, if in the back half of December, you've had a pretty decent hold of this 50-period moving average. You can sort of see it settle down into a range with that 50 period as resistance. And it's in a downward trend, obviously, as you can see there. And when you're looking to play trend, I always try to keep it simple. Like, what's the key level that you trade off of? It's not on my list today because there's a few things that are popping fades. I don't know that SMCI is one of them, but like you get 31.6 here, and if it were to break that, you still have resistance at 32.8. I think the upper band of that level, that'd be the one to watch a little bit more closely because that's a rejection underneath that 50-period moving average. So if we do get an up day, this would be one like late day if I was looking for a mean reversion and it happened to be up there around that 33, I'd take the shot. But what an unbelievable roller coaster ride it's been for SMCI, although, quite frankly, it's been all down on that roller coaster.
Yeah, no, Neil. Like I was just saying, added to the S&P and removed within the span of roughly 6 months. Absolutely wild there. But yeah, no, kind of looking back at it, I'm like, is being added to the S&P going forward now a reason to sell? I have no idea, but SMCI definitely a beautiful kind of chart there. As soon as it kind of breaks that trend here on that run up there at the beginning of the year, we know that a lot of chip names related to AI and in that sector. We're doing extremely well, and SMCI was definitely one of them. It definitely caught on to the hype there, and over the year, we saw that they had the auditing debacle. They had some issues as well, and yeah, pretty much sold off all the way back down, all the way into the removal from the Nasdaq 100 as well, but. Beautiful kind of a break of trend, reversion on the higher time frame. This is a weekly chart, Neil, and we like to do this.
Oh yeah,
a little bit of a trend right here. As soon as that trend breaks, guess what? Back to the downside, and a beautiful backside, 100% reversion all the way down. It took about, let's see, well, if you want to measure off of May 23, where this kind of bid started stepping in. That was about what it says here, 308 days roughly, and then to get back to those prices from the high to the low, if I can capture, there it is. It's about 250 days, so almost symmetrical. We haven't quite got down to these lows yet, but roughly coming into somewhat of a symmetrical action there. I'm curious to know whether or not we get back down to this $10 level here, but pretty aggressive selling nonetheless to the downside. You can see that the selling has been, whenever the selling does happen, you can see these weeks are strong red relative to the bid up that we got, not as aggressive in terms of the weeks that we had. Interesting wicks happening into those 80 levels there, maybe going into that 100 was interesting. That's where it kind of started to slow down, and then yeah, we get that reversal all the way back down, trading in the 30s right now, Neil. So I don't know what we're poised to do next. But interestingly enough, we've been in a bit of a downtrend over the past couple of weeks here, a bit of a double top here underneath that 35.5 level, and taking a pullback as well. So I don't know if there's more selling coming in today, not necessarily on my radar for the day today, but interesting move on the year, and yeah, what a ride SMCI has had.
Yeah, it had, like you said, it's just been. It's unprecedented. I don't think, and you know what? Like, it's not the only stock that is actually seen a sell event after an addition to an index. I don't. It would be unfair to single them out. It's just you don't usually get added and then subtracted within the same year. You would have seen Uber as well made a bit of a top when it was added to the indices. So there is a precedent for a certain aspect of it. But I can promise you this, SMCI is going to be a volatile stock in 2025. Like, that's not even remotely controversial. Just want to give a shout out to Trish O in our chat. Hey, everybody. And by the way, if you want to send best wishes and communicate with us, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can be in the chat and let us know your thoughts, or just say a Happy New Year, because Trish is from Australia. It's past midnight there, so enjoy 2025. We'll join you in a few hours. We do have a market to get to as well. And Jaspreet is telling you, Obi, to look at SGMO. So yeah. We'll have a look at that stock. We got to get back up to the destined segment. But there is going to be a lot of these small cap type stocks. I think you got to be looking at some of these SGMO on the move. Ooh, that's not
50% drop on that one.
What's
there.
The story here?
I don't know what the story on this is, but clearly nothing good here. Interestingly enough, we had a strong relative volume day here on December 19th. Don't know what that catalyst was, but a bit of a breakdown off of that level with some news, I guess. Let's see what Pfizer pulls out of hemophilia a therapy study. That's what Drew said. So
here, I think I have it. It looks like, here it is. Trading lower. They announced its collaboration and license agreement is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
so good. Pfizer kind of pulling out. Good. So I guess maybe the reason for to get long initially was maybe in anticipation of that trial, and yeah, getting a bit of a sell off here. And yeah, this is how some of these biotechs kind of move, right? A lot of price action, I think, is in anticipation of trials and upcoming results and deals and things like that. And when a significant player like that pulls out, or the study or the therapy itself kind of like shuts down, yeah, of course you're definitely gonna lose the bid and lose it aggressively. And that's a prime example of that. Low of 78.
So there's
coming
still
down
room.
from what we were trading. We opened in and around 250s yesterday, traded down to 230s, and then quadunking the after hours. So, see, we can keep it on watch. Keep it on watch. Maybe some reversion there off of the dollar. Maybe we get that dollar bounce. I don't know what else they have in the pipeline in terms of other research or other things that they're doing.
Usually with this drop, it's if you drop this much, usually it's nothing. But
That's the daily, right?
yeah, this is a daily.
Coming
That's just
back
a
into previous
guess.
levels,
That's
yeah.
just a guess because it's coming right back into previous level. Like it's not holding higher than previous levels, which is usually would be an indication that you got a little bit more going on than just this than just one drug. But yeah, the dollar should be on watch. We have to pay for locates on this. I just double checked. Like we don't have free shorts on SGMO, but yeah, this should be added to any watch list. Certainly a chance to bounce off one, and even if it doesn't, you've got 70 pennies down here, which I would SSR bounce in play. Like you get a good mean reversion today, you might only need like one trade like that. And this one certainly, if it were to catch a bid, it would have some room to run. Let's head back on up to the desk, but yeah, maybe add this one to the watch list.
Has been a big play the second part of this year, and one of the bigger names right now in quantum is one that we don't often talk about. IBM, they have the largest, or they have a plan for the largest quantum computer that they want to build coming up in 2025. They want to build to aim this computer by linking smaller machines into a modular system, kind of like how we talk about small modular reactors. You're connecting different reactors, smaller reactors, together as a chain. This is kind of what they want to do here. They have a couple of different plans. They have a chip called the Flamingo chip, and it connects about 1,386 qubit system. They want to have that by 2025, but it's the Kookaburra chip, Adara, which is going to debut hopefully in 2026. This one's going to connect 4,158 qubit systems, linking 3 different chips. That would be the biggest quantum computer in the world. Right now, that actual category goes to atom computing, who has 1,180 qubits. That was done in 2023. So lots to look forward to in this specific sector in 2025.
Quantum certainly does look like it has some longevity there as a catalyst. Google, we know, also got involved there with the Willow chip. Now we have IBM getting involved. So it'll be interesting. We saw how many megatech companies hopped onto the nuclear train. We'll have to see if that's a similar kind of move with quantum. Rigetti, though, regardless, looking really nice here. Bit of a breakout potentially at that $18 level, so whole dollar level. This nice bull flag to the upside. We'll have to see if it comes to fruition. But either way, looks like these quantum stocks could certainly have some opportunities today and going forward.
Let's look, boys. Quantum.
So first of all, that IBM one sounds like the crab from Moana. I don't know if that was intentional that they named it that way, but yeah, interesting. There's no chance, like if you were trading yesterday, whether you traded it or not, I'm sure you noticed Rigetti, as Adara mentioned. You pretty much couldn't avoid it. It looked like you had a temporary top. Maybe you might still have it, but it looked like it was a temporary top made above 18, and you were getting a pullback on these quantum names. And then Rigetti pulls into Friday, not Friday, I guess like Thursday support there from Boxing Day at 14, and then just catches a bid all the way back up to 18. Now, yesterday's high, this is where I'm looking, like at $18 today, but yesterday's top 18 quarter, and then you go back to Friday and you've got that 18 quarter-ish again. So I know there's some wicks above, but that's all the way to 19 and a half bucks. You can break out yesterday's high and have room to the high to go. I do like the 16 level for a dip buy here, but yeah, Rigetti is certainly on watch. Anytime you maybe trap some shorts when you have a move like this, and anyone swinging short, probably looking at that 18 quarter resistance, or maybe even the fresh high on Rigetti there. So they could still get blown out, but that's one heck of a reversal. They bought it right back up. Didn't even last very long. So it needs to break the 18 and a quarter to me. Otherwise, I think any dip at the open could be a wild one because liquidity is usually pretty low in the open. And I would suspect that if it doesn't sustain the break, I'm not holding some kind of a breakout all the way back into 16 bucks. Like I would rather get out and then look for the dip buy. But the trend has been fantastic on a lot of these quantum names. And the volume, once again, is here right now. Gone away from some of the other like great small caps that we saw in that nuclear space, and they were doing pretty well for a few months, and now it's just all about the quantum names.
Yeah, I think No real sign of any significant pullback here. I'm looking at IONQ here. Some would argue kind of one of the definite leaders of this theme, of this sector, of the quantum space here. And you can see over the past couple of years, we've been having some moves on this ticker, but finally a strong aggressive push past prior highs from 2023 and 22 and 21 with a strong set of expanding volume here. So yeah, nothing too crazy. Had no real trend break. This is a weekly chart here. Sure, we got some significant pullbacks here in the beginning of December, but going into the end of the year, still consolidating near its highs here. 48.56 is the high on the weekly here, currently trading at 44.29. But story might be a little bit different for some of the other smaller names here as well. If you're looking at QUBT or RGTI as well, looking relatively similar in terms of that strength and aggressiveness. So I would definitely be watching some of the higher market cap names in this sector, in this space, to look for a significant pullback to see if this is all over. And yeah, we've been starting to see names like just names like Hollow just putting in quantum in their name or in their news reports, in their catalysts, and catching a bid off of that as well, just to give you some idea of how strong this sector actually is and how aggressive the bid can come in if people are anticipating that, okay, maybe this does have some sort of quantum value to it. But yeah, no, should be interesting. I think that we may just be beginning, but as soon as that trend breaks, oh boy. Nice.
I knew you were going to say it. I'm like, yeah, I got to throw it in there. We're finishing each other's sentences. It's easy when you throw the oh boy in there. Yeah. But you know what else we could have for some potential catalysts? You never know. We'll get some upgrades and downgrades in just a moment from Adara.
Let's go.
There are actually some interesting ones on this list here today, starting with Ralph Lauren, getting an upgrade from Argus with a $250 price target. Argus also upgrading Yum Brands today with a $155 price target. BTIG Research here upgrading FTAI Aviation. We're actually up about 6% pre-market, as is the last upgrade on this list, Rocket Pharma here from H.C. Wainwright. And the downgrade side of things, you may be familiar with Canoe. The ticker is GOEV. It's a small cap that's run in the past. Today, though, getting a downgrade from Stifel. Mizuho downgrading Axum, though both Canoe and Axum actually up on the day. Last but not least, here to end this upgrades and downgrades cycle, we do have Harley-Davidson with a downgrade from Robert W. Baird. Back to you.
Yeah, that Rocket pharmaceutical. Oh. Well, what's the opposite of a rocket ship? Because this one has been cratering for quite some time. I mean, every now and then you can draw. There you go. Like this is the easiest trend line to draw. So RKT.
Would it be a submarine? Because that's definitely looking a little under.
Well, this is a different one. That's Rocket Companies. What's Rocket Pharmaceutical? Yeah, either way. Yeah.
No, the opposite of a rocket is.
Yeah, you're not trading. You're not trading that one. I think you might at least take a look. You might take a look at a Yum Brands on a different time frame. Like I think ultimately there's day trading stocks, and then there's things that you would look on a higher time frame. Whenever I see something that's doing a heartbeat pattern, like a Yum Brands, I think sometimes there's opportunities here, like twofold. One, if it ever spends this much time in the same area and then breaks away, I think it's one of those easy opportunities to maybe look for a breakout. And as you can see, this is the 2023 high at 143. It spent the entire year between 126 and 143. 10% range. Literally doing nothing. So this is the kind of stock where maybe you just set yourself an alert for if it ever breaks out of that top. And I think it was one of those like easy, probably low risk if it breaks kind of situations for you. But that's about it. I think today, you know what the catalysts are. We all know what they are today. We all know it's going to be some of the quantum names. And we've already seen, like, you don't need an upgrade to know that Faraday is going to be a mover today. It's 22 million shares. It's 56%. It was a runner yesterday. Heck, Mullen doesn't even have a catalyst, as far as maybe we should double check this, but the catalyst is.
They sold 3?
Mullen sold 3 cars.
Damn.
Okay, so check that. Mullen actually has a catalyst today. They
That's
sold
2 more than 1, Neil.
They sold 3 cars. So that's, you know what?
I mean, it's better than nothing.
You do you, Mullen.
They did well.
The second worst stock in the history of the U.S. stock market. It was, it's them and, shoot, I always forget the other guys. But anyways, it's...
CHK. No, I'm joking.
It's not CHK. It's something, it'll come to me in a second. No, but when I say it's like the worst stock in the history of the market, this is what I'm getting at. There's an actual pattern that you can possibly play on Mullen. So they do the reverse split, wait for it to get into the penny stock range, right? And if it breaks out from like being back above $1, like take a shot at it. But if it doesn't, they just do a reverse split and it goes back, and then you can see if it does it again. So there's your split. It goes, this time it bounced over $1, but this time it failed. Goes back down to 20 cents or whatever the heck that bottom is, maybe 10 cents, reverse split, go back. Sometimes it bounces off $1. Now it's trying again. You know how this is going to end. So I can see the future for next year. Fast forward a couple of months, and you're going to have Mullen have topped out somewhere underneath $8, and then it's going to slide back toward the middle of the year, underneath $1 into the penny stock range, and then it's going to do another reverse split because that's what they do. But for today, it's a bit of a different story. Like for today, keep it simple is what I try to do with names like this. Find the first significant prior resistance that you can play off of and see if you can't join the long, because at least for the day 1 or maybe the day 2, you want to look for the long, and then after that, maybe Mullen goes back to being Mullen. That's right around 155, 160 today. You have a top here, you have a consolidation there off the 160. You've already bounced it once here. So I think this is going to be worth watching today. I am not remotely endorsing anything relating to this being some kind of a long-term play. I wouldn't hold it overnight. I mean, we just day trade here, but yeah, you can always play it for momentum on Mullen. But yeah, 3 cars, good for them. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, not bad. And another one on the list for the downgrades was Canoe. Another kind of EV ticker here, and split multiple times. Yeah, this actually did not trade at a high of 11,454. It's actually been split a few times here. You can see earlier on this year, or 20 is this? March 2024, 1 to 23 split, and then more recently here, I guess just a few days ago, 1 to 20 split. This Canoe is definitely flowing down the river here, Grand Rapids, maybe all the way to the downside. Look at that! I gotta like keep on scrolling to get to the prices here. But yeah, I don't know how much volume this thing actually does on average here. 4 million. All right, so 4 million on average. Trades just above $1 here, $1.50. Kind of broke prior day and trading a little bit lower here, coming into a bit of a base here at 135. But yeah, let's see what Canoe where the Canoe will take us on the last day of the year here. Not really necessarily on watch, but interesting that a little bit of a downgrade on a bigger picture downtrend as well. Kind of similar to that Mullen move, but doesn't really have those crazy extensions. It's just been splitting and selling off into what looks like towards zero, not that far away.
Very likely. But let's see what else is going to be on watch, including what are some key levels on the future, Sharif?
59.50, Neil. We kept defending that level yesterday. We talked about that being the area of support. We're well above that level right now. 59.72 is where we're trading. The overnight high, 59.83. So if we catch a bid over here, we're looking at 6,000 as resistance. If we continue to drop down, or if we whiffle and waffle, we're looking at 59.50 as support, guys. All right, make sure to get the watch list sent to you every day. Dara prepares it, and we all use it on this desk. Helps you organize your day, lets you know what's running, and no good morning routine is sound without good organization. Have it sent to you, your inbox, every single morning. All right, let's start with the first ticker on the list. Well, we're talking about big tech. We're talking specifically about Wedbush's AI picks, and there's a whole bunch to talk about over here. So Wedbush coming out saying Nvidia, Microsoft, Palantir, Tesla, Alphabet, Apple, MongoDB, as well as Pegasus Systems, Snowflakes, and Salesforce. Those are its top picks that are set to benefit from over $2 trillion in AI capital expenditures expected for 2025. But there are some notable omissions from this list, Adara.
Yes, Sharif is right, because Meta and Amazon absent from this list, interestingly enough. However, one thing too, just in general, he does actually have some bullish notes on tech as a whole, saying that he and Wedbush expect 25% upside in tech stocks for 2025. This is just Tesla here. Some of the factors here that are cited by Dan Ives here include the fact that Lena Khan is going to be likely no longer the FTC chair. She was viewed as very bearish for some of these tech stocks due to a lot of the regulations and the inability for these mergers to go through. So these regulatory hurdles likely down under Trump, which Dan Ives uses positive for the tech space.
All right, guys. Great year for tech. And we're just looking at right now on CNBC, 97, 98, really 2 good years. If we close out, I think, 1/3% higher today on the S&P, 23 and 24 will outdo 97 and 98 as the best back-to-back years, boys.
This is why I think that's why everyone's getting antsy for like some kind of a correction or a pullback, because of the run that we've been on. So look, Palantir was on watch yesterday for obvious reasons, just because it's been a good stock to trade. But it had an unbelievable V-shaped recovery. I won't deny that. But yesterday the trade was simply off of 78 and shorting back into the prior high. Even though it made the big move, it ends up resisting 79.5. So I'm leaning toward the same notion as we had before. You've just made the fresh high. You failed that 81 breakout, and it looks to me like we're still in a bit of a downward trend from there. So instead of one area, now obviously just looking at two, that same 78 where we dropped off the afternoon and the morning, and then if that breaks out 78, I've got the backup that I'd look for shorts over 79. So I'm still thinking continuation play to the downside in Palantir. If it gets back above 80, all systems go. Or I guess the other side of that would be, and it's not likely today, but on the off chance, you have yesterday's bottom at 76, but on the off chance it fills in the gap, let's just say I'd be excited for it to fill in this gap because we'd like to be buying that bottom. But I don't think you get that today. I think today I'm looking shorts off of this 78 to 78 quarter initially. If it breaks out from there, I wait patiently for it to retest above 79. I'm thinking continuation short on Palantir. Tesla ended up a better stock, but overall, I think this was the cleaner move. I'm going back to the well.
Yeah, I think one of the names on that list and doing some interesting action in the pre-market today is Nvidia. Look at this tight consolidation, Neil, here. So yesterday got a strong bid off of what is this, 134 area here. So 134, strong bid all the way up to 140, 27-day high. Gives it a little bit back into the close there, now consolidating right here, just in and around this end of day consolidation before that sell-off came in as well. You take that range, and that's the range that we're holding currently going into the open as well before that strong selling came in here on Nvidia. So yeah, 138 all the way to 138.80s-ish. So yeah, 138.82 is the high, and the low of this action currently is 138.01. So less than a point worth of consolidation for over almost 5 hours now. So going into the open, yeah, we'll have hit just over 5 hours of this consolidation of this within a 1 point range on Nvidia. Should be interesting to see what it does with this range, with yesterday's highs, maybe some of these lows as well. If we do pull back, this is where that bid came in yesterday, and I'm going to be asking that same question. If this bid from yesterday is real and we do take a little bit of a pullback, where will it potentially catch? No idea, but going to be observing Nvidia for that one there. Yesterday we saw it was a little distinctly different from some of the other chip names as well. You can see AMD kind of selling off there. You can see even SMH not really giving us that kind of action until later on in the day, where it kind of chops up, consolidates, holds higher, and then gives us a bit of a push into that 247 level here. But yeah, distinctly different from some of these other tickers here. You can see Intel got sold off right off of the open as well. Couldn't really make it past 20, Neil.
Yeah.
And this is another interesting name as well. Kind of maybe a little bit of a backside move. Let's take a look at a quick hourly here. This is a 3-hour chart. You can see that we've been selling off, and I do have this alert all the way underneath or just above 20 there, 20 halves as maybe potential support resistance area here. But yeah, let's see if we can get that continuation. If we hold below 20, I have no idea. But I'll be watching Nvidia. I'll be watching SMH today for sure. Yeah, some of these AI names taking a little bit of a breather going into the end of the year. Distinctly different from how we started off.
Yeah, they've put in some work, so they deserve a little bit of time off. But you know what is still putting in work? This bounce in Bitcoin is still ongoing. Let's get the news up at the desk there.
Above 95,000, Neil, trying to take possibly 96, up 1 1/3, a little bit higher than 1 1/3. Obviously, some of the key drivers for crypto this year have been obviously pro-crypto policies, with Donald Trump coming into office very soon, as well as the approval of the first spot Bitcoin ETFs, and the Bitcoin halving event that we had earlier in the spring, obviously reduced supply and boosted prices. I want to show you guys here what some industry analysts are predicting the price of Bitcoin is going to be in 25. So if we can show this, CoinShares, the most conservative of the bunch, they got a range of between 80,000 to 150, but you have people like Matrixport with 160,000, Galaxy Digital 185, and even Standard Chartered 200,000, saying boosted by increased institutional inflows. But the one that I kept my eye on here was Maple Finance. They have $180,000 to $200,000 target, and the reason that they're saying it's going to be that strong is they're saying institutional inflows expected are going to reduce the extreme drawdowns that we've seen in previous cycles. That has been one of the hallmarks of Bitcoin. Obviously, the aggressive moves up and down. They're saying now, because there's institutional money in this, we should expect less volatility there.
That's actually what Michael Knott said as well yesterday, too, on if you checked out the market recap with Neil and myself. So really interesting note there. Seems like that is generally the analyst, or I guess chart specialist point of view on this. I also want to mention MicroStrategy here. We're still below that 320 level that we could not get back above yesterday. And Martin Shkreli, who you may know as the Pharma Bro, has chimed in on this stock. Now, why this is interesting is because if you recall, he actually called that short in Cassava Sciences a couple months back. Basically, he's been pretty critical of MSTR in the past. Yesterday saying that as it was below $300, that, quote, we will liquidate you and take BTC to 250,000 without Saylor. Also saying that Saylor should shore up the balance sheet, predicting that it's going to be a bubble that's going to end poorly. So keep an eye on MSTR with that in mind.
All right, guys, above 95,000, what's the look?
Have to watch MSTR if you're in the space. It's certainly probably poised to give you the most volatility of the day. But if you don't like what's going on at this 92 level on Bitcoin, then I don't know what to tell you. All that's left would be to break out this downward trend and hold above like 96. I think would be the next step. Obviously, if you lose 92, still looking at 85 for some kind of a support level. What I don't like about MSTR today, so far at least, it's still early. You're at 317 when Bitcoin has already broken prior resistance and broken again at 95 and consolidating higher. And what you've at least done is you've filled in a bit of the gap here on MicroStrategy, but you're still at the same spot where that sell program started in the afternoon. And that's underneath the 320 level. Needs to bust this 320. If it can get past that and Bitcoin can hold on to 95,000, you're good to go. Now, unfortunately, in trading, it cuts both ways. If we continue this breakout or we lose 95, it's sort of an obvious short underneath the 320 levels. It's an over-under level for me. It's the only place to play off of that I'm really looking at here on MSTR. It's the only crypto name that I'm looking at today.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at Bitcoin here just to see how we've done on the year. This here is a 6-month chart, so each candle is it represents 6 months of trading. We have about 9. It says here roughly about 9 days and 9 hours and 46 minutes left for this candle to close here on the year. So this is again 6-month candle here, looking pretty decent here. So definitely some strength that we've seen here. Taking a look at the weekly on the year, we started off. We can go back to the beginning of the year here in January and see where we were in January on Bitcoin. Oh boy. 40,000. So pretty much over 100% move here. Currently sitting at 130, roughly 100, almost 140%, and definitely a little bit higher all the way up to those all-time highs at 108. If I can throw in that measurement right here, let's take a quick rough estimate right there. Okay, so almost 170, 170% there from those January prices. And yeah, we've been trending up since about January 2023. So this has been about a 2-year run. You saw it on the 6-month chart there. That was about 4 candles straight to the upside. And yeah, running for about 2 years straight now, roughly. Bit of a consolidation that happened in that 70K mark in the beginning of the year. And we finally broke through that in October. And we're closing near the highs here just after that 100K mark. Going into the end of the year, but yeah, no, a lot of anticipation with how the new government may be looking at crypto and maybe some policies or some changes and some talks about a Bitcoin reserve as well. So interesting catalyst nonetheless for this ticker here, and a lot of names have been running on this as well, right? You have Mara, you have MSTR, obviously a really big one. Coinbase as well. You got exchanges, you got miners, you got people who are joining, on some of those NFT names might be running as well. Hollow used to be an NFT name, so now they're running on Quantum. So I don't know, a lot of interesting action in and around Bitcoin this year.
Speaking of.
What's up?
We have news here at MicroAlgo. MicroAlgo has news, announced the launch of full adder operation quantum algorithm technology based on...
Yo.
I posted it in the chat, so I'm not even reading the full thing because they actually use the word quantum twice in that release. Oh, so this is MLGO up 60%. I was showing you... The daily chart is a repeat offender, but this is now holding above $6. So MicroAlgo, the latest of these small cappers to go. And oddly enough, we were just about to talk about quantum. Add this to the list of runners. MLGO now up 70% and counting, Obi.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, this thing's absolutely running. But yeah, no, crypto names could definitely be interesting here. So yeah, I'm gonna try out a little piece here because the news is a little fresh as we break through that $7 mark here on MLGO.
Just add .com to your name or AI. Or crypto. Your stock will triple, quadruple, guys. No, seriously. Quantum, obviously one of the hot stories of the second half of 2022. Kind of brought on by this. That is the picture of Google's chip Willow, the quantum chip that we heard about a few days ago. Just to give you some context of how aggressively these quantum names have been running. There's Rigetti, RGTI up 1,700%, Adira. You got the likes of QUBT. We're talking about 1,886%. This is obviously year to date. QBTS not far behind, 937% year to date. Good look for these ones, and MLGO, the latest one.
Yeah, I was saying as well to you off camera, QMCO, Quantum Corp, which is actually not a quantum name. They're in the database or internet information space. They are purely a tech play from what I can see. But because quantum is their name, QMCO, I'll pull that up for you, is also that is AMCO. QMCO is up about 700, almost 800% year to date as well. So even if you have that quantum association, good look here. This is the daily chart for QMCO. But also here, just to clarify that story on MicroAlgo, basically saying that they have developed a groundbreaking quantum algorithmic technology. What it's going to do is going to be allowing to have new possibilities to the development of quantum computing. So quantum-related algorithm stuff coming out of MLGO. This is the QMCO daily chart, though, as you guys can see. Not even a quantum name benefiting from that push.
All right, guys, don't forget, talk to you guys about IBM initially to open the show. Another name to keep an eye out in 25 for quantum.
You know what? I meant to pull up a chart of IBM. Oh, that buyer at 7. On MLGO, MicroAlgo, it's hard to tell on a 3-minute chart, but if you go to maybe a 1 minute, it'll show it. Yeah, 1 minute will show you a little bit better. So there was a nice little buyer there at 7. It tried to rinse through a second time and then sort of confirmed holding. You have like this bar close and this bar high just around that 7 even. So when it retook 7 on this open of the bar, I went in the long, but it just rejected 780. So I think it just went to the half dollar, took some out there. Probably want to take some out in front of the $8 level as well. I did pull up a daily chart, and we should have done this earlier. There's pretty much nothing out there on the daily chart. Like you're in rarefied air, and I think at least until you like 874 it's there, like this low, this high because it has some confluence, but there's a lot of room if it can hold on to this $7 level. Obviously, there's a few other names to get to. Rigetti, still like Rigetti. Obviously, this just sort of hit now on MLGO, but Rigetti's right back up to that 18. Yesterday's high I like at 18.25 for a potential breakout on Rigetti. I did have an order in. It's too close to the open. I probably won't take. I'll put the order in closer to 9:30, but Rigetti, easier to see this way. If yesterday's high at 18.25, and you've got room to about 19.5. So this one, multiple day runner. Love the fact that it did a V-shaped recovery. I do not want it losing this breakout back through 18 and holding to 16 even. That doesn't make sense to me because obviously you've got some resistance at that 18 area. So this is also in play, but MLGO with yet another one of these quantum headlines.
Yeah, how crazy is that? Yeah, just a little bit of a dabble off of the news. Let's see if it kind of sustains. I'm watching again anchored VWAP off of the catalyst right there as well. So pulling into I guess this is a 3-minute chart. I'm watching it on a second chart as well. Not a 1 second chart, but a 30 second, 10 second chart as well. So let's see how this one kind of pans out. Gonna give it some room. Gonna give it some time to breathe. That prior high being at $8.07. I think it was at $8.75. See if we can get up there. If we can push through those levels, and maybe a little bit of a push poised for this one. But what do I know? I'm not really too well versed in these tickers, so I'm not going to say too much, but I am taking a little bit of a dabble here. But like I said before, IONQ definitely going to be the main ticker on watch when it comes to quantum as well. QUBT, I know there's a lot of people taking shots at that one as well. But yeah, IONQ. Yesterday we saw a bit of a V-shaped recovery there into 45. So let's see how that one comes in here today. But 44.68 is trading currently. But yeah, gonna continue watching these tickers here to see if we get that continuation. But on the last day of the year, I'm not expecting too much from anything here.
All right, Faraday Futures next with Mullen. Interesting look. So Faraday announced that they will be unveiling its FX prototype car at the CES in 2025 in Las Vegas, which takes place between January 5th and 7th of next year. But here is their actual car right now that they actually have for sale, the FF91. And, you know, it's got suicide doors, as Obi showed. If I can show this over here. So good look there. He's going to open up the automatic suicide door, boys. I'll show you what this one looks inside in a second. It's got a 2-seater in the back, 2-seater in the front as well. So it's definitely a luxury car. And if I could show the interior, here we go. Multiple screens. The driver's got their own screen. The passengers got their own screen. It's a good look. Obviously not selling these ones in any significant quantity, but Mullen's also got a headline to dare.
Mullen also does have a headline. We talked here about how they did sell a couple, I think it announced 2 truck sales. That was on December 26th. But we actually have another truck sale announced by Mullen. They sold the Mullen 1 all-electric cargo van to a company called Mr. Appliance. That is it's a franchisee, so not the entire company, but this one franchisee here in Maryland for undisclosed terms. So Mullen here, with I guess 3 truck sales now in the past week. Either way, MULN, as much as we may joke, is up on the day here about 25%. They had a nice move yesterday as well. And MULN and FFIE both have almost identical short floats, just under 27%. But Mullen has a much smaller float, around 300,000 shares, due to all the times this thing has been reverse split.
I want to show this, Fabian, if I can here. This is the back seat of the FF91. What do you think, boys? You can take a ride in this one? Looks like quite comfortable.
I mean,
that is a
nice.
big old, that's a big screen. And like that's almost too big. It looks like oddly large There's something about that that's just, it still doesn't sit right with me. But look, Mullen already, I know it's up 25%, but it already lost VWAP. It's already half rugging here, unfortunately. Hey, that MLGO just caught a bid at 650, it looks like. Look, Mullen, as far as I'm concerned, it might already be on the back end. I did pay for, tell me I paid for locates. I did pay for locates on this because we've seen this story before. Mullen usually lasts for a day or two to the upside before doing that reversion to Mullen being Mullen on the daily. So I do want to respect that overall pattern where eventually it fades. Clearly you have resistance at the $2 level. I would want to respect that for sure. It's a double top there. But if it can't even climb back above VWAP, if it tries to go at the open, I'd be ready to fade this one. Like I'd much rather play in something that's yada, yada, yada quantum here than chase a Mullen, which doesn't even have that big of a catalyst and a history of just ending up in the dumps every single time. So I'm more likely to end up fading this. I don't have any orders out right now. Probably could have been an easy short when it broke that support, but we'll have to wait till the open. You just had MLGO, and we were just talking about this one. It just caught a bid off of VWAP, but instantly there were buyers at 7. Now there's sellers at the $7 level. I saw it get up there. Seller jumped in at $7 even, so I took some out there. But it looks like you might be on the back end of this trade. If it can't hold this 620 bottom, I want to wait till after the open for a secondary push to look for a place to add. I just sort of get some in, scalp out, and look for a place to rejoin it. But I don't think I'll be bidding again because it's 925 and it's getting a little bit close to the open to try to catch that falling knife. I actually wrote a rule a few years back. You don't necessarily want to be buying all the way in the final 5 minutes of a small cap pulling back. Usually, it's like wait until the open if it's all red candles going into 930. Yep. Either allow it to see some buyers come in or wait for the open to be able to add back into the position. So I am in this one. We're obviously both in this one, but let's just be a little bit patient with it. And then lastly, there's not much on the imbalance locator, but BBAI is a buy imbalance of 870,000 shares for BBAI. That's Big Bear AI, one of the latest small cap runners. And speaking of which, small caps are last. I feel like we've talked about a lot of small caps this morning.
Yeah, we have.
That today, for sure. Guys, 4 triple-digit small cap winners are ready to start the morning. APM, the largest of the bunch here, up 254%, right at the volume-weighted average price. Keep your eye on this one. Then ITP, also making its way onto the scene. This one's sub $1 at about 237%, just breaking down below $1 now. Looks awfully bull flaggish. ONCO as well in focus, above $1 right now. This one's up 154% above the volume-weighted average price. And last, but certainly not least, VRME up 126%, breaking down below VWAP Adara.
And VRME actually has a little bit of a catalyst here. Basically, Adam H. Stedman, who is the director, CEO, and president of VerifyMe, which is the name of the company, buying 20,000 shares, average price of 71 cents. So that is not huge notionally, and it's also not huge compared to the market cap, which is above 25 million. But either way, worth noting here, insider buys are always usually viewed as a bullish catalyst, so good look for VRME. Both VRME and APM, which were 2 of the leaders earlier today in terms of these small cap runners, have floats of just under 10 million shares, a little bit smaller, I believe, for APM, and they both have market caps around 25 million.
All right, boys, which one are you looking at?
I think in this particular case, you've got to sort of, I ended up jumping over to this MLGO. So I think I have to stick with this just based on the volume that came into it a little bit late in here. And you got to be able to pick your poison. So I think you want to monitor, put up a watch list. Certainly, I know the midday guys are always over multiple small caps. I tend to look at maybe 1 or 2 at one time and then have 1 or 2 other stocks that I can be on at the open. So with 2 minutes to go, I know we didn't really get too good of a chance to go over some of these other big cap tech names, but here's just Nvidia. I kind of tweeted about this morning. 140 confirmed itself as a sell zone on Nvidia. If it can take out the 140 half and the 141 levels, I think it's a break and an add at those levels, but it's a short till it's not. And then the other one, the other chip name that I don't think we had a chance to talk about here, AMD, distinctly different in that, yes, it is up on the day, but my goodness, it's still in the same downward channel that it's been for the last few weeks. First resistance, 123.5. You got to respect the fact that it's got a nice little double bottom here. So if it breaks 122, I think that's a flat bottom break. But if we break out this in AMD, no fighting. No fighting. 126 is next resistance. That's a wide gap on advanced micro devices. So 1 minute to go. MLGO on the move. I've also got Rigetti up here, RGTI. It just pulled back off of 18, so it's now 17.5. That 18.25 breakout might just have to wait a little bit. It could still happen off of the open. So multi-day high here on RGTI. Would like to get that one breaking out, but it's falling back a little bit here on Rigetti.
Yeah, I think that's all I really got on watch here. Only about 30 seconds left, so good luck to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Again, good luck with your trades today, and follow your plan. That's what I'm telling myself here. Just speaking out into existence here. Trading below 21.5 on the Nasdaq and below that 6,000 level on the ES as well. We'll be watching this MLGO off of the open with only about 10 seconds left. We got Adara at the bell.
Oh no!
And oh, there's Sharif as well.
It's a little delayed, so we're really actually
3, 2, and 1.
There you go.
We are open here. Let's see how MLGO opens. Still trading in.
Oh, instant
60.
sell.
So is it going to halt down? Is it going to halt up? I got no idea, Neil, but it's holding that anchored off of that pullback. Oh boy, here we go. 730s, 730s,
750.
750s.
Halt up.
Are we halting?
Halt up.
Halting, false halt. Back down through 7. 7, 6s, 670s, 7s again, 7 halves. I gotta take like an auctioneer's course. You know, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe take an auctioneer's course, and then I can get a little bit better with following some of this price action here. Also watching Fannie Mae here. At the same time, we got that strong catalyst yesterday. It kind of bit up into the close, so we're going to be watching that one. Currently trading at 347 here. But yeah, nothing else too crazy.
Tesla's on the move
as well. You're saying Tesla's on the move?
Tesla's on the move. We didn't really go over Tesla, but I mean, you've seen it bounce off 420 enough times to know that that's going to be a key level on Tesla. Certainly wants to take out this 427. So it's on the move. Not much yet. I think you're still looking for a bigger push. The market has not done much of anything. The NASDAQ moving just, I mean, barely anything. It is Tesla's on the run up, and it is Nvidia on the way down. All right, this MLGO is just continuously finding resistance up here. Like we got the 750 fill, and it keeps wanting to close this above 7 even. But I feel like if we lose VWAP, you could end up in a halt down. So hold on for this last push, and hopefully we can break that $8 level here on MLGO micro algo on the run. And wow, Nvidia really falling. AMD as well. This is now, I don't want to say rocket shipping to the downside, but about to go red on AMD, testing that 122. You've also got this micro strategy, tried to break early. Looks like the under part of the over-under is setting up here on MicroStrategy. With Bitcoin holding 95,000, MicroStrategy is still going down. This is the problem with the stock. It's just not having the same level of support as you're seeing that Bitcoin has. Yeah, so I'm just currently watching that. Okay, there goes. Get up. A little bit of a bid continuing to come in here on Fannie Mae as we push past that 350 mark. So I got that on watch as well. Not really participating just yet, but I do want to participate in the ticker at some point today. I'm going to see how this opening range, the first 10, 15 minutes kind of goes on this ticker before getting involved. We got Rigetti with a bit of a pullback right off of the open, and is trading at 732s as well. Market taking a little bit of a pullback. We talked about that Nvidia consolidation, and oh boy, we broke the lows of that consolidation, Neil. So 38, remember that consolidation between 38 and 38.80? Well, guess where we're trading? We're trading 136. So that definitely is interesting. I blame MLGO.
MLGO here is taking a little bit of a while here, but again,
look
if you throw up an anchored off of the news, I got it on a 30-second chart. We've been consolidating above that, holding it quite well. So again, that'll definitely be a strong reason for
I just saw my average price
on that one there.
I actually didn't realize that was my average price.
Oh boy!
Just now.
Oh,
no,
nice.
No, it's what nice.
Nice.
No, it's not. It's just
Crit
a little
sixes?
Actually, my last, it is what it is. It's first in, first out, right? So we first had it at 701, and then I had it at 666. So it's just, Like, it's just where it happened a bit. But Palantir was a big missed opportunity. Obviously, MLGO was moving, and it was fresh news. Palantir dumps right off that 78 level that we liked. Here comes MLGO. It's losing the bid. I think it's when, there it goes.
Down.
I'm out. So just one thing that I think is important on all these stocks. No matter what happens, I'm always trading with it out. I am not getting, I've been trapped in a halt before. You try to give it a reason to run. I'm out at the 640 break. So once it got underneath, this is the wick, and I'll show you exactly what the thinking is. When it puts this wick in, I get the long. Once it holds here, my stop moves there. It's like I have my stop under 620. The second it presses into 7, prior bar high is my stop. I don't want to get trapped in that hold, so I'm out of it. It did give you, look, it gave you 80 pennies, maybe 90 if you're slick with it, but I don't want to turn red on this one. We'll see if it can open up and hold some green, but as I was mentioning earlier, Palantir dumping off the open off that 78 level. There wasn't, unless you were short in the pre-market or essentially right before the open, yeah, there was nothing to really catch here. So I was still looking bearish on Palantir. I'm not going to chase that move down by any stretch. We'll just have to be a little bit patient with PLTR. Rigetti, it'll probably be a 5-minute halt on micro. Rigetti pulling back huge as well. Now down to almost 16 bucks. I should probably cancel the breakout. That's not going to happen. $16 support, I think, can be in play. But a huge move to the downside there. And then there is another halt. Halt down on micro algo. Halt up on ONCO, holding on to exactly the dollar level, and VWAP. Let's put this one on watch. I like these stocks at the dollar level. Let's go to Adara.
So some more small caps here as well, and watch live person, which we haven't discussed yet, LPSN. Up about 54% with a 10% short float. They actually reported some inducement grants under NASDAQ listing rules yesterday. There's also OPTT. This is that Ocean Power Technologies. This one is a repeat runner. It ran yesterday as well. Nice volume candle off the open, trying to take out highs. No catalyst that I can see, but about a 7.8% short float. There's also APM again, Aptorum. We talked about this one a little bit this morning with a 2.7 million share float. Market cap just over $22 million. So lots of small caps to look at here today. Back to you.
Yeah, so a little stuck in that halt, but good enough. I kind of got out of a significant chunk right there. I don't know if you guys can see that out right there. Only holding a little bit for this down halt. Yeah, we're down. We're tapping $6 right now, so the entry is 668. So let's see where we open up on this ticker here. Fannie Mae, though, oh boy, that thing is dumping as well. We were trading at 3.5s. This is what I said. I wanted to wait the first 5-10 minutes to see how this thing moves and trades, and then make some decisions on that one there for Fannie Mae. So yeah, coming into the downside here is Fannie Mae. Not really looking like what I wanted to see for that continuation push. So going to give that one a little bit more time. Palantir to the downside as well, Neil. Excuse me. So that one has been an interesting ticker as well. I've been kind of more and more involved with it over the past couple of days there. Yeah, let's take a quick look at Tesla as
Tesla's dumping. MicroStrategy is dumping right now. Boy. It's getting nasty. You're down at 417 on Tesla. Try to remember double bottom yesterday at 416 on Tesla. If it loses that double bottom, I think it's going to be in trouble. And MSTR, like there's an opportunity cost for looking at small cappers because both Palantir and MSTR both dumped off of afternoon resistance. So if you get any kind of a bounce, there's always the VWAP follow-through play. This is what happened yesterday in MSTR. There was an initial bounce. Twice they came back into VWAP. I think that's the first place to look on MSTR. I think that's the first place to look on Palantir. Obviously, Nvidia is testing as well, looking like it wants to make a bit of a flat bottom break. AMD 122, another level that we are looking for the fade. Yeah, I still am looking for this MLGO to reopen. The tap is currently a little bit better. It was indicating under 6. Now it's indicating about 614. So we'll look to see if we can get any kind of a hold of VWAP, maybe come back into it. But the way this market's going down, I'm not sure we are going to get it. It's looking nasty. The NASDAQ has just turned red and still falling. Still falling, Obi.
Still going down. Wow, that's crazy. So anybody who got short off of those opening range breaks definitely kind of printing there. Yeah, Tesla to the downside, 414s currently coming into those level I have marked here as a prior all-time high level.
Wow, Palantir
here at 14.5. So let's see how much further this thing can sell off. I potentially am looking for a bit of a reversion, to be honest, Neil, on this one there. Switch over to the wrong chart. The thing is, it's moving so quickly. This is the time where I do like to look at shorter time frames than the 1 minute, especially on things like Tesla. Look at that. When you look at Tesla on a 30-second chart, it definitely looks like there is a strong seller kind of grinding it down. But looking at it here on a 3-minute chart, here's MLGO opened up, Neil. So trading back at $6.30. So 640s coming in. Let's see if we make a lower high. Do we bounce back up into some of these levels here? A bit of a bounce coming in on Tesla as well here on the day, but the market, strong quadroon. Can we catch a little bit of a bid? This is where we got that bid in the morning session right here. You can see about 4 a.m. We got an aggressive bid back up into 21 halves here on the NASDAQ, and we're coming into some of those prices as well. 21,380s here, a bit of this consolidation area base here. So, all right, you know what? I don't think MLGO is going to really do much right now, so I'm just going to get out of this one as of right now if it'll have me. But yeah, let's see. I'm just going to wait for it to come back into that anchored VWAP right there and be a little forgiven for a little bit of degeneracy here.
MicroStrategy is now at 305 and still falling. Okay. It's nasty. You're above 95 on Bitcoin. Like, you're still holding. You've got to be kidding me. I'm not happy with. Look, MLGO had news and it certainly had a chance to go, but like that one completely. This is the missed opportunity here because look at this one. Adair is short this one somewhere in the 17 range as it's continuing 1450. 1453, I think I heard. So maybe off of VWAP. Certainly this one's absolutely cratering. There is a strong bounce happening here in Tesla. So I think you are at least getting a chance to retest. Look, 420 plays both ways. If we bounce back into the 420 level, I'm going to look fade. If you didn't get the short early, we like that VWAP retracement. So that goes for Nvidia, that goes for MSTR, that goes for Tesla as well. That's assuming that they can even get there at this point. You know, the way you're seeing this market move, it is heavy to the downside. Palantir is catching a bit of a bid. Whoops, that's PLTR. Here, I'll just show you the black chart. Palantir is catching a bit of a bid as well. VWAP sitting right around the bottom at the close yesterday, about 76.80 or so. This is where I'd look for a bounce on PLTR, another stock that we were looking short off of the open. Yeah, unfortunately, that bad boy, it would have been nice if one of those quantum names could have been like our low float runner of the day, but you got to move on and go back to the original plan on some of these bigger cap tech names, including Tesla, now Palantir, although Tesla's not even bouncing that far.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't even want VWAP.
Nothing too crazy of a bounce here. Yeah, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try a bit of a long here going into 17s, and I'm giving it some space here. But yeah, let's see if we can sustain hold over 415s to get a little bit more here on this move. But Nasdaq, no real sign of a bounce just yet. What's going on, Adara?
Some small caps here still making moves. On Kinetics up about 240%. No catalyst, but tiny float. 313.73 thousand shares. So that's under 314,000 shares. HOLO making some moves as well. Up about 16% right now with a 5.46 million share float and a 13.5% short float, much like MLGO. They announced their own little quantum catalyst yesterday. So now a quantum name also popping is Nikola. Just seeing this in my scanner right now. NKLA up about almost 12% here with a 25.7% short float. This just happened now. I'm going to have to check this out if there's any catalyst, but be well with NKLA as well as fellow small cap meme EV names like MULN and FFIE. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this action-packed session. Back to you.
Yeah, that's about right, Nikola. For some, we should not be surprised that you're seeing something like that. I'm going to get to that in a quick second. So VWAP came in here on AMD, and wow, did not take very long. This is a single 3-minute bar. And the second it retook VWAP to the downside, we're able to get 122.60s out, and then it's immediately retesting higher. If we break the prior bar high, gonna jump out of this one. Like it comes back to a level we're looking for the VWAP hold, but I'd like to see some continuation on that move underneath VWAP. You do not need it breaking out and then retesting the top. So just gotta be a little bit patient with it. The way I see it, on the way back up, willing to take 20, 30 pennies of a win to scalp, but not risking a lot. Not going to risk a lot on the way back into the upside. Just because you missed the initial move down does not mean you want to bleed it. You want to lose small and try to win big. PLTR was the other one that we just grabbed. This did not get to VWAP. It kind of resisted underneath yesterday's bottoms, which is 76.5. We got some at 76.36, bid out at 76.10. Very similar story. Just looking for the VWAP retracement here in some of these weaker names. And Rigetti, just another one. There's so much moving here. Rigetti is insane. Rigetti went 16.12. It's already testing back to the top. This is right back into breakout territory for Rigetti. The market dumps and goes red, and Rigetti says, yeah, we don't care. We're just going to try and do a V-shape like we did last time. When it did it yesterday, it was a good trade breaking it back out through the prior high. I think the same thing still holds. Not there yet, but it certainly has a decent chance. So Palantir was still in. I haven't really checked back on that micro algo.
No,
the micro algo is still
below,
dead.
It's below sixes.
Yeah, this one, it just couldn't hold on to VWAP. You gave it a chance on the pullback. It gave you some profits, but ultimately a little bit of a wasted opportunity there. Because I think that initial move, you just had to take it all out on that initial push to the upside, Obi.
Yeah, I think that one. If you were thinking short right away after you saw that, you definitely came out on top on that MLGO, and that's fine. I tried a little bit of a long, managed it all right there, but yeah, Palantir on watch now here for me as it pulls back up into VWAP. So aggressive selling right off of the open there. VWAP currently sitting at 76.94. It's trading at 76.50s currently, so let's see if it can kind of get back up into VWAP, and let's see if that selling kind of persists there on Palantir here. So looking at the weekly as well on Palantir, this week we actually broke prior bar low for the first time since the week of November 4th. So definitely one to keep on watch. I'm kind of observing, I'm kind of seeing whether or not sellers are actually in charge on this ticker. We can see that every time it has gone up into, or yesterday when it went up to the high at 79s, was sold off all the way back down kind of for V-shape to the downside, all the way down into 76s and some change. Current day low at 75.67. Here comes VWAP right here, only about a few pennies away. Let's see if that can give us a little bit of indication indication for a little bit of selling or not. So yeah, VWAP sitting at 76.92s currently, so we're rushing up into that level right now. Let me pull up the tape for you guys here as well so you guys can follow along. Here, 76.70, so 94 is where that VWAP is. Okay, Tesla, let's go Tesla. So that pullback came down into 415s. It held 415s quite well. Now we're pushing right back up into VWAP, which is just shy of 420 level. And yeah, I can see that 420 might be on its way here on Tesla. Let's take a quick look at where VWAP is, Neil. So. VWAP 420.69 is VWAP right now. I cannot make this up.
No, it's
right
dead on.
It's 420.69 is VWAP. That must be a sign, Neil.
Well, okay.
So it's got to hit now.
VWAP does depend on your chart and when you start your data. It's a little bit.
I got data from 4 a.m. So yeah, I got all the data.
Mine's from 6 a.m. So it's a little bit different. MSTR just got into VWAP, but also Palantir. We were able to scalp some out down at 76, but now it's breaking back above prior highs. So we want to make sure we get out of this. I still think you can look for these VWAP retracements. You just have to be very patient with it. Remember we said AMD? Look at this thing. Now it's at $123. The rocket ship to the upside. You can like the short initially, but that stock does not want to stop. The other thing happening is Rigetti. We're still eyeballing this top here on Rigetti. It's very close to this 18 breakout. It's now a triple top, actually a quadruple top today, and then yesterday's highs setting up on a Rigetti. Want to look to a VWAP, pre-market low, dip buy, and still looking breakout the top on Rigetti. MSTR at VWAP, Tesla at VWAP. Got to be careful with the curls, but here comes the first breakout on Rigetti any second now. Of course, when I stare at it, it's not actually breaking 18, but I should get there in a second.
Yeah, so we kind of tapped into was it 419 halves here on Tesla, 76.60s on Palantir. So didn't quite. Did we actually get to VWAP there? So we almost got to VWAP. Here's the VWAP right there. So almost got to that VWAP, 76.91 sitting there, and we're kind of selling kind of coming back into the ticker as well here, but I'm patiently waiting. I'm waiting for that 420 to come in on Tesla. Let's see if we do a little bit of a wash of that VWAP. VWAP now currently sitting at 420.62, so only about a point and some change away from that level here. Yeah, gonna stay patient. There is the bid on the market, Neil. Oh boy, look at that, full-on reversion as the strength comes in on the Nasdaq here, as well as the ES. So we bounced off aggressively off of that 21,400 level. Can we get all the way up to 21.5? So again, every about 100-point level, roughly. Here's 420s on Tesla. 420s holding right now. Let's see if we can get to that 420.60s level at VWAP. What's going on, Neil?
What's going on is a chance to wrap up 2024 with a massive savings from Trade Ideas. Right now, exclusive to Trader TV, viewers get 25% off any subscription with code TraderTV25, or go big with 30% off premium annual using TTV PREM30. That's TTV PREM30, both valid through January 3rd. Don't miss out on these New Year's savings, and let's crush 2025 together. Shout out to Trade Ideas and all they do. Fantastic platform there. So scan the QR code, check the link in the description of this video, and join Trade Ideas. Take advantage of that awesome promotion. So I see Tesla's already broken 420. Yep. No 18 break on Rigetti. It got to 99s, and there was no breakout. So we're still waiting on Rigetti to make the move that we're looking for here. I'll get off it there. MSTR just popped into VWAP and confirmed selling underneath. That's 313, the local high on MSTR. So still working to the downside on MicroStrategy. We'll look to see if we can pick this one up and add into the short. I mean, Tesla seems to like that level. If you try to get MicroStrategy, there's the over-under on Tesla. If it closes under 420, I still think looking for the short on Tesla is going to make sense in here. So both MicroStrategy and Tesla, I'm still looking for the fade play in both.
You
still in? Oh, you're still in Tesla. Okay.
Yeah.
It's retesting 420 as we speak.
Retesting 420 here.
There it is. So it just tagged 420. A little bit of a seller came in there. I have 78s. I'll give it to the local high there at that 420 level. It's about 421. So call it just a little smidge more than $1 worth of risk. And if we can roll back under VWAP, obviously I'd look at 18s and 17s as a bit of a resistance. I don't know if you're still watching FNMA, by the way. That is doing a heck of a move. And here comes...
still pulling back?
Oh, no, Rigetti not making the break. Rigetti's starting to come into VWAP as well. So Tesla trying to break underneath VWAP. Rigetti, the breakout might be gone, and you could be looking at a VWAP retracement on Rigetti. Still eyes on Rigetti. Still eyes on Palantir. Still eyes on MSTR. But Tesla at the 420, the only thing I am into that is new.
Yeah, so... Again, Sean has blessed us with his presence, and I think as soon as Sean came in, I was in a multi-dollar winner on Tesla. So I think there's definitely some good juju there. 421s. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Here we go. So let's see. I definitely could have had more at 417s, but it is what it is. I have what I have. Let's let the trade kind of pan out and work here. 421s incoming potentially. Let's see how much further we can get here. But yeah, VWAP was that 420.60 mark, and currently still trading a little bit higher here. What is the opening price? Oh boy, if we do a full-on reversion of this level, 424,
break,
and then the opening range high is 427.94. Okay, all right. Well, I don't know if I'm. Well, you know what? Let me put on some sell rules, and maybe I will be able to hold it till there. But I do want to piece off just a little bit here on top of this 421 because that is what I said I would do to myself. So. If it can come and get me there, 421. 421 is still trading right now. 422s, we did tap up into 422s there. 422.01 is the high of the current 3-minute candle that I'm seeing. So yeah, solid moves off of the open there. Yeah, let's see what we have in store. Okay, so Palantir did reject off of that VWAP right here, so that's good. That's good to know. look at that clean rejection currently as of right now of that 78.89. Current high is 76.90. So sorry, 76.89 is where VWAP is on Palantir here. So you know what?
It's looking, Palantir's looking good for reload. Tesla broke that free, when it broke that 421, easy in, easy out. But I think you got to be a little bit patient here, because I'm seeing like the market's coming right back into those lows. I'm out of Palantir after first scalping it, but look at it start to set up a second shot at the short. So it has broken 77. Want to see those lower highs start to come in. That's a pattern we got to watch for. MSTR, unfortunately, I just canceled. Tried to get 311.50s on this way back, and now you're already back down at 307. So it's a little, obviously it trades with a wide spread, but I didn't want to chase this one to the downside. That was, once some stocks are holding above VWAP, but this one is rejecting it by multiple dollars in a big way. So we might not be able to get the trade that we want on MSTR short, but Palantir now getting back underneath VWAP. I think it's time to re-engage that one. If I can get money fills over, great. Otherwise, we'll play the consolidation underneath on Palantir. I still think you have some shorts playing on some of these names. Not giving it up. I think the market did this yesterday. We've seen that strength. And here comes Rigetti. It's now 3 times it's tested 18. It broke out yesterday. Like to see it make that breakout. I've got my stops to take both today's break at 18 and then the break through 18.25, which is yesterday's high on RGTI. Very, very strong name here on the day. Like everything else is red. The NASDAQ just turned red. This did a V-shaped recovery, so I don't want to give up on the quantum of bad boys here, especially Rigetti, which is leading things. And Holo as well, everybody. Like Rigetti's trying to go, and you've got Holo continuing its move from yesterday. Look at this thing. This is already broken through yesterday's high. If we don't grab Rigetti, I think this is the one I want to join. Came in thinking we'd have to look at some small caps today, and Holo was a bit of a forgotten opportunity here. Obi?
Yeah, so I got out of everything on that Tesla. It's still continuing to go. 422s trading right now. 76.70s here on Palantir with the market bouncing a little bit there. I kind of want to stay a little bit patient here. I want to show, like I said, if I'm looking for that continuation, sellers have already shown themselves off of the open. Kind of missed that trade opening drive to the downside. But yeah, I'm looking for that continuation off of VWAP currently, and maybe a little bit higher even. So maybe if we can push up into some of these pre-market levels and then reject, maybe I like it even more there, but we'll let Palantir kind of cool off a little bit here. Again, still opening half hour, currently with about 4 minutes, less than 4 minutes, just shy of 4 minutes left to go in the trading day right now, as Palantir tests its VWAP once more. So let us know in the chat what you guys are trading. I want to take a look at some other names as well. People talking about FFIE as well. Of course, that one ran up nicely in the pre-market as well as yesterday, but no real follow through coming into the day today. A little bit of a chip chop happening here. Still trading well within opening range on FFIE. So not really looking at that one too closely. Wow, 423s, Neil.
And still going.
Still going.
That 420 level, it's like if it gets there, I mean, like if it gets through that level, it craters. If it breaks through to the upside, you've seen what it can do, the damage. 427, I think, a little bit of a reasonable target. And we're talking about Tesla, obviously. I did just see Palantir come right back. It just gave the fill over VWAP. 77 is a local high. We're tighter to 77 this time on the way back up. If we test VWAP, try to get some out there. MicroStrategy still looking relatively weak as far as I'm concerned. And that Rigetti, at some point, you got to make the breakout. Otherwise, it's maybe just a Holo party. Because Holo's continuing this obvious trend into the upside, as you can see here. Nvidia also at VWAP. So the VWAP retracements are coming fast and furious as Nvidia puts in a little bit of a double top. It's not a double top, it's just a consolidation level here around yesterday's close. So we liked Nvidia to the short side. Obviously, it never popped into 140. We're going to give it to 137.5. So stop goes in. Keep it relatively simple. You're favoring the short. I think you want to let things settle up a little bit here. So we have Nvidia. If it breaks 137 even, I'll look 3/4 as first out, and then down here around the low of the day at the 136.25 mark to continue to cover on NVDA. Red stock into a slightly green market is Nvidia. Haven't double checked AMD, but you got to trade what's setting up for you. And at the end of the day, this is setting up for that VWAP retrace and the continuation play to the downside, whereas AMD just wasn't doing it. Like AMD, it's back under VWAP now, but this went all the way up to 123.5. Yikes, Widowmaker if you held on to that one. But yeah, just got to be patient. Like I said, just got to be patient. Nvidia now working. We got that one a couple cents away from first target. In fact, it just hit. AMD setting back up underneath VWAP. Palantir is right there. And here comes MicroStrategy. Maybe this is the time to be able to grab MicroStrategy if it can do another pop into VWAP itself. So a heck of a lot going on here. I just saw this in the chat. And if you want to name some symbols, ask some questions, join in on the fun of answering some interesting poll questions like this, make sure you hit the like, but more importantly, the subscribe so you can be in our chat. Here, how do you consume Trader TV Live? Obviously, I'm just going to, I'm going to say watch and listen because I'm here live, but let us know. A lot of people saying watch and listen, but some might just have it on in the background. And if you have questions about what's going on or the market's moving fast, don't hesitate to ask. That's what we are going to be here for. So no new positions other than this Nvidia and back into Palantir, which, hey, I see you're in Palantir as well.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I'm just kind of giving it some space. Not really in as aggressive as I'd like it to be, but again, I want to give myself a couple of tries before you know, given that again, I've been trading Palantir for a couple of days here, getting used to it, taking some hits, making some wins as well, but getting used to kind of how it behaves or has been behaving over the past few days. And it is a little choppy. It is definitely competitive for sure. But market tailwind a little bit to the upside currently with that bounce coming in off of that 21.4. We see that we did sustain it. Let's see if we can get another bar to the upside here and revert more of that selling that we got coming into the open currently. Tesla taking a little bit of a pullback here. We got all the way up to almost 423s there on Tesla before taking a pullback onto 421s. 422s currently trading on Tesla. FFIE finally catching a little bit of a bid, Neil. So Faraday futures looking like today's future might be good as it approaches right back up to that $5 level. Let's see if we can get up there. What's going on in there?
Who would have expected the New Year's Eve session, last trading session of the year, to be so very eventful? We had a crazy move off the open to the downside, now trying to bounce a little bit here. This is the S&P 500, up about 1/3% right now. Definitely making some lower highs to compare it to yesterday, so we're going to have to see if we're able to reclaim that 590.50 level. Right now, just above 590s. The NASDAQ up a little, about half of what the S&P 500 is up right now, looking much weaker as well, though we do have some higher lows for the NASDAQ. Bitcoin, of course, on watch. A lot of these small caps on watch as well. In the EV space, Nikola got a pop to the upside. We have Mullen and Faraday Future as well, so the small cap EV movers, and as well as names like Holo and APM. Now, in terms of other tickers, Quantum still on watch here. RGTI trying and failing to break that $18 level as of right now. All these quantum names as well have roughly about a 20% short float each, so be very cautious of those. MSTR continuing to break to the downside. Speaking of Bitcoin, unable to break its own level there of 320 and now heading into that $300 level. And last but not least, TSLA for these mega caps. Interesting look for this one right now. We had that massive drop off the open, then a nice pop here. And as of right now, struggling with that 423 level. So lots of stocks at lots of key levels to start off the last session of 2024. And make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, because we're here every day the markets are open. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. MSTR, another low of the day there at 304. Actually, check that. It bounced at the low of the day. No fresh low on MSTR. It actually caught a little bit of a bid. As I know, I'm hearing in the back, it's like there's shorts on MSTR, because if you're yelling out dump it and die, you're probably talking about MSTR here. Almost red. It's looking to go from green to red, but not there just yet. Just quick update. You've now double-barreled supported 136.5 on Nvidia. It's a wide range off the open, a little bit of a tighter range happening with this lower high. So going to continue scalping out underneath VWAP. Money fills above. We're looking to short into 137.5. So if it pops back up again, got to be patient on any reloads. Follow through needs to get down to 136 here. So I'm backing off on any reloads just yet. on Nvidia and trying to play that patience game. Rigetti has now successfully held VWAP a couple of times, so double top here in Rigetti 17.4. It can still break out that high at 18, but now I'm looking to see if I can pick some up on VWAP here. If it breaks 17.35, that can be an easy out. Want to try to get a shot in this. It's not only a breakout trade here on Rigetti. If it can't hold VWAP, I think we're going to retest that 16 even. But I want to join the quantum party on a name that's actually strong. We had MLGO earlier. We didn't like the follow through on that one, Obi, and I think Rigetti looks a little bit stronger, so play VWAP into a break of that high.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that as well. Taking a little bit of a pullback here as both the Nasdaq and the ES start giving us a little bit of a wick on the 15-minute. Only about 11 minutes left on this 15-minute to print. So going to continue watching that one. Bit of a break of trend here on Palantir. So I did stop out earlier as it pushed all the way up to 77.40s there, getting back in as it pulls back into this VWAP area. 76.90s is VWAP. Here we go on top of VWAP currently right now at 76.90s. Let's see if we can take a little bit of a pullback here. Market, again, that candle going, oh boy, look at that drop on the ES as well. Some aggressive selling coming in here, Neil, on a lot of these names. The prior bars are breaking.
Big time.
Oh boy, that's selling coming in on Tesla too, slamming down to 420s as we pull back in. So, oh boy, are we gonna get a bit of elastic action here in and around some of these levels? I have no idea, but that MSTR is definitely unwinding there. It only got up to about 312s, 313s, and then pulls back all the way to 304s here. So absolutely beautiful. Beautiful push to the downside here. Let's see if we can print those 300s. Last night we were looking at those closing imbalances. It came in with about a 2 million roughly imbalance to sell, and it goes all the way down to 302s into the close. And then after hours, it does print below at 299s there as well. So I don't know how low it actually got in the overnight session. Let's take a quick look and check. Overnight low, oh boy, wow, 292.95. So not only did we break that 300 mark, we got much lower here. So this was
going to break it
that
again
came
here.
in, and yeah, we're coming right into these.
The question becomes: break the 300 short or not?
Yeah, exactly. It's that's like, do you chase all the way there, or you know what I mean? Like, yeah. All right. So Palantir's, yeah, that push up to 40s. Oh boy, I was like, yeah, that's slightly extensive there. And then you break a prior bar, going back into VWAP with market pulling back as well. So let's see if we can reclaim VWAP 76.89. If we can't, then I like this for the continuation a little bit further. Prior consolidation lows right here incoming. I have at 76.48. We're trading 57s right now, 76.50. So just about 10 pennies away from there. Let's see. We did kind of revert. The reversion was nice on Palantir. We came all the way up to VWAP. We actually broke VWAP. We got a little bit past VWAP, and we got a little bit past some anchors as well. And like I said, I like it even better if it can come into the pre-market low. And guess what it did, Neil? It came right into that pre-market low and then slammed quadunk to the downside. So I like that even better for the continuation trade. Let's see if we can pull into 76s currently. Or is this all she wrote at 76.60s? I got no idea, but oh boy, that market tailwind is definitely on our side currently. See if
the shorts are going to work. The shorts are obviously still working here. Rigetti, we're not going to get the breakout on Rigetti. Look at what happens at VWAP in here. We're jumping out. Rigetti's pulling right back into 16. Nvidia's still trying to get down to that low of the day. So we're looking and we're angling for the low of the day here at 136 on Nvidia. But all eyes are now on MSTR 300. So, you know, it's pretty much, it's at 301. It's about to break. Let me just double check the orders. All right, so it's about to break the 300 level. It had a bottom at about in the mid 290s in there early in the pre-market, early in the aftermarket, where it was able to catch a bit of a bid. But this is with Bitcoin holding 95,000 temporarily. There's not even that much on the bid at 300 here with MicroStrategy, but the dump is continuously on here for them. I don't know if you'll get that big of a size sitting there, but it's not going to matter. Even if you see a few 100,000 shares there, who cares? It's like a hot knife through butter right now on a MicroStrategy. I'm going to look to take that break. Ideally, we would get a pop back up and could short something in the 5 to 7 range, but it feels like the break's coming first. Nvidia just crossed 136 to the downside as it continues to flush. So I think you're going to break this any second now. There goes MicroStrategy. It just tagged it. I think you have to give it at least $1 to $1.50 on MSTR. And then that 95 needs to be respected on MSTR. So we'll see if we can't get some bids on the way down toward that 295 as MicroStrategy continues to take it on the chin. It's obviously not looking very good for this stock. It was an impressive rebound, but what are you going to do? MicroStrategy heading back underneath. I got 75s on a trail. On the slippage, was able to just get some out there on the south side of 99. If it's back through 301.5, that's an easy out, and then wait for about 305. Nvidia, that short, working well through the low. Next available pop, I want to look to be able to add into this Nvidia trade. And guess what's also back for us? Tesla's underneath 420 again.
Yeah.
So that over-under play on Tesla, right back into play as VWAP now sits underneath 420 on Tesla. All the reason in the world to look back to this, still believing in the shorts as the market hits the bottom. Just wait for Tesla to come back to us here, and now it has.
Yeah, so I'm kind of, again, lucky that got in at 77s. I was like, all right, well, do I really want to risk, 30, just over 30 pennies on this Palantir? I liked it short, again, going into or just off of those pre-market low levels. But you know what? It is what it is. Get right back in and look for that push to the downside here. Currently coming into 76s, but not that much size, sitting on 76s, about 300 lots sitting on 76s. A bit, so I'm already sitting on 76s to cover a little bit more there. Covered some on the way, on the way down. There's that cover at 76s as we wash that a little bit here. Let's see if we hold 76s. Oh boy, the market is coming down even more aggressively. So that morning session is breaking right now, Neil.
There's lows.
And there it is. So Palantir pulls back over 1.5 points off of the VWAP right there. So I do want to kind of watch that there. And what I'm trying to do, Neil, as of late, is to kind of try to churn more. And like you say, don't want to look gift horses in their mouth for too long. But let the trade work at the same time as well. So trying to find a balance between that is definitely a little bit of a balancing, literally a balancing act. But yeah, let's see how well this kind of works there. I do want to reload back at VWAP. I don't know if it's going to get all the way there. Currently trading at 76.18s. But yeah, that market tailwind definitely helped us out a little bit there as Palantir pulled back, and those sellers definitely showing themselves at that VWAP area, and even better, at that pre-market low area here that we did crack. So boy, if you're taking an opening range break through that 77.6s, that was probably some of the best places to get in my opinion. And then 77.4s on the retest. Oh boy, is that a reload? That's a trade within itself as well, and it gives you that short to the downside. I'm a little I'm getting in a little too early here on the front side of the move when I'm just anticipating a VWAP pullback here into 76.80s, get stopped out pushing into 77s. I think I stopped out 77.06s, but then when it pushes up and then gives us that little bit of a euphoric push into that pre-market low with that acceleration, and then turns on the fly there, I like that even better. Like I said, even before it came in, I'm like, if it rejects off of those pre-market lows, I'm gonna like it even better for the short. And guess what, Neil? I did not size it in terms of liking it even better, but it is what it is. We have what we have. Covered most of it here, looking for that reload if it does pop back up into VWAP. But if we crack that low a day, like the futures currently are, then oh boy, we are definitely poised for a little bit lower here. Low of day, 75.67 here on Palantir, and I see that you have an AMD chart pulled up, which begs me to question, where is Nvidia at 135.80s?
AMD is okay,
the breakdown of that whenever that pre-market consolidation is so tight, man, that's almost always a trade.
It's
like.
Yeah, and when we see this happen on AMD time and time again, and you could say the same thing about Nvidia. It just, when it cannot break the prior high, it ends up being dumps fill. So VWAP doesn't end up working. Okay, fine. Like it's not a losing trade. It's a flat trade. But obviously these pre-market highs are what ended up prevailing. Nvidia is trying to catch a bid at 136, and it just failed it. So I think giving it back into the prior bar high is going to make sense in here. And if I'm going to trail out of Nvidia, then I'm willing to try and grab some. If it tries to pop 136, the trail out's now in here at the quarter mark. If it consolidates this bottom, I'd add there instead of waiting for VWAP, because I don't know that we're going to get VWAP at this particular point. You still have one small cap, and maybe there's some other ones, but you have at least one small cap that's still going right now, and that's Holo. So Holo up 35%. Yesterday's top is holding very nicely. That's 780. So I kind of stuck a fork in Rigetti temporarily. There was no breakout at that $18 level that we liked. So we had to wait for it, and it just never came. VWAP holding on Holo, prior high holding on Holo. This should be the smart one that can hold up. If it loses VWAP like the others, I think it's probably going to dump, because you saw what happened here on Rigetti. Like, that initial candle was like 70, 80 pennies. So a good 4% move on Rigetti the first time through. I'm going to look at this VWAP, and if VWAP's not holding, I don't want any part of these smaller cap names, but I think that Holo is at least starting to look a little bit stronger than Rigetti. Play some higher lows here, look to join the trend on HOLO. Shout out to anybody else, what you guys are looking in the chat. Tesla, still holding underneath 420. I just saw some people mentioning that. Doesn't seem to want to get back above VWAP in the 420 either, Omi.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be a little patient for that one there. I did like the long off of this bounce here, this 414 area. I did get alerts telling me that, oh, this area right here was a prior all-time high, and I like those levels. I like if it was a prior all-time high and it stood as all-time high for a little period, and then we got significant action off of it. I like to keep that alert in there, just to remind me that this area was a little bit or held a little bit of significance in the past. And does it show up as a little bit of a bid? Yes, it does. It shows up as a bit of a bid here. Here comes Palantir. So we did cover a decent percentage of the position on the way down here, coming right back up into VWAP here. Where is VWAP, you may ask? Another thing I want to point out is, oh boy, MSTR actually got to that 300, Neil. We dropped to a low of 298.90. So we did print that 300. So if you got short off of the open and held to that 300, congrats to you there, as we did print some significant prices there. All right, so I got to focus on this Palantir here. VWAP currently sitting at 76.79. Let's see if we continue to make some lower highs on this name. Potentially looking for a break of that day low if sellers do step in a little bit lower here. Again, market tailwind definitely on our side with that one. MSTR selling off. I see that Fannie Mae still kind of holding this 320s level currently. Palantir holding the 7640s. I'm just going through some of my in-play tickers that I did kind of sort through this morning. IONQ got a flush off of the open there. We were looking at some quantum names as well. IONQ flushing off the open.
I actually got a question about IONQ that I was going to get to a little bit later. I was asked yesterday in the aftermarket show, I was asked where I was looking at IONQ to buy in my personal account. And it was just sort of like, and again, we're not here to give investing advice, but one of the things I was saying was, well, I like the 50 period here. If there is any kind of a pullback, it's got a great upward trend. And basically I like the trend line, and the support, since it's retested this high here on the trend line, was down at 29 even, and then the 50 periods at 29 even. So I like it in that range, but then I'm probably a little more conservative than most on where I would like to buy the dip on a stock like this. So that was the answer, and I know we appreciate all those questions. It's, again, just what I'm looking at on INQ. It's down 3.5 points today, like a lot of the other quantum names, so I don't think you're going to see any of those types of levels anytime soon. Just back over to Nvidia. Seems like it wants to go. Here comes right back into that prior bar top. These closes are all 136.42. Let me zoom in so you can see this better. This is all 136.42, and it just wicked that top. So it goes right into where I was trailing it to without actually breaking. This is the signal to look for the continuation, at least for myself. If it closes this bar underneath, then I leave my stop in. I don't have to adjust my stop, but I am going to add shares back in before VWAP here. But I need to closing this bar on some weakness and rolling over back on Nvidia. Tesla's starting to come back into VWAP. I don't know if you're still looking at this, but consolidating underneath the 420 here on Tesla as the market's trying to catch some kind of a bottom here. Still green on the day Tesla, but obviously the 420 has been a big linchpin level for Tesla. Kyle Burdett in the chat saying Nvidia looks like it has a touch more down. You're watching 134.75 for a possible long. Did I just hear Kyle Burdett wants to go long? I think that's what I just heard. Well, I hope it gets to that level because that would mean the short works out pretty well. 134.75, Kyle. I have no issues with that happening. Seems like it's a long way away. Still a couple of dollars to go before it gets there, Kyle. We'll see if it can. Right now, Tesla's trying to retest that 420 level as we speak. I'm in at 19s.
Yeah, so a little bit of a confluence with that VWAP happening at that 420 right here on my chart. But yeah, if you take the first about 5 minutes, is that 5 minutes? Did we start selling off a little bit before the open? Yes, we did. So we're still trading well within that first like 5 to 10 minute range here on Tesla. So a bit of an inside action. Here comes VWAP once again on Palantir. So yeah, let's see, 78s I have. We're trading at 76.75, so 76.78s I have as VWAP on one platform, and here on the P Pro we have it just in and around 68, so 70s-ish here. So I'm just observing kind of the tape in the book here, just to see if sellers do step back in. Do we get that market tailwind as well? Is sentiment going to continue on the ticker today? That yeah, sellers are definitely in charge. Again, kind of how do I determine that? They were there off of the open, very, very clear. Came in once again off of 77s, in and around VWAP, in and around anchored, marked at prior day's selling as well at this level, and pre-market lows as well, 77.40. So let's see if we can kind of wash a little bit of VWAP here. So 78s I have. We're trading at 80s right now. So right here, 80s, nothing too crazy just yet. But yeah, look at that. I'm just gonna continue watching this, watching the colors of the rainbow to see if we get some strong selling that actually pushes into the bid and follows through. But let's see what's going on with the small caps with the Darren.
We actually have a nice push up here in IWM, Russell 2000, right now holding on to that 220.50 level. So you can see that's been quite a bit of resistance for IWM. So if we break above this level, who knows what we could get in this last trading day of the year. Could be pretty bullish look overall, though, for that Russell 2000. There are so many small caps today. We'll not be able to get to all of them, but we'll try to get to some of the big ones here, including Microcloud Hologram, making a nice bit of a bull flag here around that $8.20 level, using that as support. Currently at HOLO here, yesterday announcing that they have this semiconductor quantum dot hole spin qubit technology. So HOLO with a catalyst in the world of quantum. They also have about a 5.5 million share float, roughly 10% of which is sold short. Then we have ONCO. This thing has a tiny float. We're talking about 300,000 shares. They have actually halted a couple times today, so beware of oncokinetics. No catalyst for this that I could find, up about 200%. Last but not least, APM. Aptorum also does not have a catalyst that I'm aware of. Roughly $20 million market cap with a float of just under 3 million shares. So small floats for all three of these small caps today, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Back to you.
Well, we know that's usually the modus operandi on a day like today. It's going to be the low float runners. I still think Holo is probably going to be the one, looking like an absolute monster. We'll get to AMD in a second for you, Elon. MC Hammer, BA broke 179 twice this morning. I like what's going on with Boeing, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But we're now at VWAP here on Nvidia. Still hasn't made any kind of a curl. Looks like this one's trying to get back into the upside and looking strong. Tesla has taken 420 again. Well, I'm going to take shots only at the 420, and every single time I get a shot at the 420, I'm going to take a shot at it looking for 17s and then 15s. So if we end up failing the 420, then suffice to say I'm going to be going back into the short trade as long as it happens. Holo is now holding VWAP. Prior high, that's the favorite setup. I wanted it to be Rigetti today. Obviously tried it at least once. There was no breakout on Rigetti. It was a good stock yesterday. Thought it could go again today. It is HOLO. That looks a heck of a lot stronger. So, you know, I don't want to sit on the one that I hope goes. I want to join the one that is going, and you've now bounced twice off VWAP in the prior high. So it started with MLGO and then went over to Rigetti. Holo looking pretty strong here, up 30%. And again, it's a pretty small floater name on HOLO. Bit of a continuation play, little day two play action here for Holo. And you're not going to want to look back at Mullen, Obi.
Yeah, no, I think, well, A lot of opportunities in this market going both ways, right? I think that's fair to say. Here again, taking out that 420 once again here on Tesla, coming back into those prior highs there. Let's see if we can finally get up into those 424s, like we said. That's kind of some of those opening prices there, and then 427s as well. Kind of opening range high on that Tesla. What is that high specifically? 427.94. So almost 428 there on Tesla. So 77s coming back in here on Palantir, and yeah, I think if you're looking at anchors here, so this is kind of what I'm looking at from yesterday. So this is that selling that came in going into the close there. So that's the anchor that I was looking at. We held that anchored in the pre-market session roughly, not perfect, but roughly that area there coming in off of the open. Not only do we break that anchor, we break day VWAP, we break pre-market lows as well, and then we reject off of them, and then we get that strong selling coming in, and then once again we get that action once again. So let's see if Palantir if sellers can step back into Palantir. There's a little bit of a bid there, a double stack of 200 lots came in, 77s and some change. So let's see if that can bring us anything there. But market tailwind, you got to keep an eye on market tailwind. Again, Palantir, pretty strong beta, if I remember correctly. Let's just take a quick look at what that is specifically here, and it kind of goes to show that some takers sometimes they do kind of follow the market really well, and sometimes not as well. But yeah, the beta on Palantir is 2.82. So oh boy.
Yeah, that's a little bit intense.
Yeah, you got to watch the markets.
You ever find your way back into Tesla, because this is actually starting to break up the
I did not reload, and funny enough, Neil, take a look at that. The price that I liked to buy initially was the same price that kind of bounced off of. So again, I got to keep that same kind of mindset. Like if I like a price and price action pulls back to that price and shows me a reason to buy, I should be maybe even risking more this time around, because it's actually showing me that this price it's confirming to me that this price may actually be a decent price to get involved with the idea to get long. But yeah, no, I'm a little bit more focused here on Palantir, as we did get that aggressive push back up. Not really getting any sort of selling that I was looking for just yet. But again, not holding on to a big chunk from back here, and it still has that original stop for the rest of the shares. Already made a little bit of a flow on the way down, and just waiting for the next kind of turn here on Palantir. Tesla maybe lick grabbing some of these highs here. You got to keep an eye out.
That's what I'm watching right now. Yeah. You've got the lower high at 423 on Tesla. You have the 3 p.m. or let's just call it the power hour dump, or whatever you want to call it there on Tesla, at the same price. So right at these pre-market highs, it's trying to hold above here. I think if we revert that, you probably play it back into the 420 level, which does look like it makes some sense to me. Obviously, we'll have that one on watch. Oh no, Holo. All right, Holo's kind of gotten away from our bid. Yeah, Holo, you've got to be kidding me. So Holo just came back into multitasking here. Just came back into 840. I tried to grab it on the way back into 8 even. I'm gonna nibble at 850. The thing about Holo is got a lot of room to run. This is, I should have gone to the daily chart. Above this $8 level, this is the split high. Split high is at like 820. So as long as it holds on to the split high in here, I want to be looking for long continuation. It's a pure squeeze, and we've seen these things get past their split tops and then continue to run. But I think it's one of those. I'm going to nibble at 850 and then still have my bid down at the 820 level here for HOLO. We're also getting back into our resistance spot on Nvidia. So here it is. There's a 175, 137.50. It's up at that top, looking for the mean reversion here on NVDA. Tesla still look grabbing. Holo's looking fantastic to that upside as well. We'll see if we can't get in. It's already at $9. I don't want to take a breakout on HOLO. Still trying to get that first dip buy. But there goes Nvidia, now through the top. I don't know if we're going to get the breakout.
We're getting some breakout.
I don't know if we're going to get that breakout on Tesla, but certainly Nvidia is already starting to go. Got to look for that 139 if it can come in here. But my focus is moving on to that small cap on HOLO. Want to see if we can catch this bid.
Neil, that 427 Definitely, I think well within range. 428, just shy of 428 is the opening range high, like we said. About 4 points away from that one there on Tesla. But yeah, the market pretty much reverted a decent chunk, and we're chopping. If you look at the past few 15-minute candles, we're all of them red, green, now green again. Well within the range of each other, roughly, give or take a little bit there. Spider kind of coming back up as well. You can see the ES pushing back up. So let's see if this area is going to catch a little bit of a bid and we're poised to push a little bit higher. I'm curious to know whether or not we make it to 21 halves here on the NASDAQ, or we take a little bit of a pullback. Oh boy, there's some strong selling coming in on Palantir. Oh my God, wow, look at the market slamming right back in, Neil. This is what I want to see.
There's the lit grab.
There it is. Oh yeah. All right, so let's see. Let's play ball. 77 threes here.
It's not baseball season.
On I thought you might like that one. 77 30s there, but yeah, no, it's
actually this is the time of
spicy.
This is the time of the year that I start to think about it. Yeah. So there it is. There was a lit grab. There ended up being a lit grab on Nvidia. It ran our stop, but then you see the topping tail candle. If I'm shorting this area here and you topping tail candle it, I don't mind getting out, and then on 3 minute it's going to look like we just got back in. We're exactly where we got out, but that's fine. Now you're in on momentum to the downside, and a similar thing just happened in Tesla as well. So I'm talking about Nvidia going red to green, and then now green back into red. VWAP still sits at 137 even. So just trying to stick with the same names. I'm looking over at Holo to see if we have a chance to get into that. That's still going up on HOLO. And that stock is looking real strong here on HOLO. Like every time, it's kind of wild. Like every single time you get on the bid at sort of an obvious level, Holo just breaks it back out again. This is a super strong stock, but I'm still not going to take a breakout. I want to be able to catch this dip, and I want it underneath $9, not above. So patience is going to have to be a virtue. Tesla, there's your lit grab. And if it can, obviously it can pull back into VWAP, but 420 is VWAP. Might catch a bit of a bid there. So if you're watching, Tesla's still looking like it's making a bit of a topping tail here. But I'd like it to put in a lower high. You're still making higher highs and higher lows, which makes it a little bit tricky to want to go into that long trade. Let's go see what is going on in the land of crypto with Adara.
The last day of the year, I thought we'd take a look at one of crypto's winners. Actually, in terms of crypto stocks, apparently percentage-wise, the winner. I'm seeing here, it's an article from Crypto News. It's as of Christmas, so not sure if the percentage is accurate, but MicroStrategy, best performing crypto stock this year, up about 400%. It's actually have this AVWAP up from the time that we had that short report from Citron Research, so we're well below that level, continuously rejecting that level, but MicroStrategy had quite the year. Just to have a quick recap, we had a 10-for-1 stock split. We've had Bitcoin purchases announced every Monday for the last 8 Mondays, so lots of Bitcoin purchases there as Michael Saylor continues to push that strategy, actually appearing at the Microsoft, so not MicroStrategy, but Microsoft board meeting on December 10th to urge them to also get Bitcoin there. So interesting look here for MSTR, also a recent NASDAQ 100 inductee. So great look for this stock this year, though they are certainly struggling, especially since we made new all-time highs and dropped on that Citron Research short report. Now, in terms of Bitcoin itself here, we'll take a look at BTC to USD. This daily chart, we're now starting to see, unfortunately, lower highs and lower lows for BTC. However, as of that drop yesterday, we still held that 90.50 level. Sharif and I were talking about that level just above that 90,500. Then we did break below the other key area that we mentioned, 92,000. So Bitcoin bouncing for now and actually above previous resistance here from the weekend of that 95,000 level. But we'll have to see if we're able to actually reclaim that most recent lower high, which was, interestingly enough, at 100,000. Key levels for BTC to watch as we head into the new year, guys.
Obviously, some big movements happening in crypto-related names, but I love the way that it's holding on to that 95. If you don't break 95, I think we could make at least another run at that 98,000 level. And then keep in mind, it's a 24-hour market, so it still has a chance to move, even though we have the day off tomorrow. Bitcoin's not going to take a day off whatsoever. So Nvidia does push back in, and we just got 137 quarters just almost filled, but it didn't quite get it. I'm not moving the bid, just going to leave it out in front of VWAP. You make a fresh high, jump out, waited for it to make a topping tail candle on that play. Still looking at Holo. You've got to be kidding me, Holo. I've canceled my bids at this point, like it's broken a little far away from that $8 level, and now you're getting these topping tails at the $9. So I'd like to see it maybe break the high and then maybe pull back in to see if we can join this. So let the stock determine where the next play is going to be for me on Holo, because we did just miss the bid. I think the next time it comes down, I'm not going to bid the stock. If I see a chance to get in, I'm just going to maybe swipe. This is not one where getting in on the bid has been successful. When you want to get in, you pretty much just have to hit the offer is the best case scenario. Sometimes a 5-cent spread on HOLO, despite the fact that it's a $9 stock. It is a little bit of a spread here worth punching in and just paying a couple of extra cents. When you're trying to grab 830 or 840, you shouldn't care between the two. You should just want to get into positions. So I was sitting on the bid thinking I was going to get picked up because usually we do, but that was a bit of a fail on my part. So here comes Nvidia. We kind of stuck with this one because it was still setting up underneath the flat bottom break and still holding the bottom end of the range from yesterday's trade. So while we're not in Holo, we are back into Nvidia. It's just the $0.50 that it's giving us back into VWAP right now. Still want that follow through 137, but kind of sticking to our guns with this chip name to the south side and seeing if we can get a break of VWAP here, Obi.
Yeah, so we're pulling back off of not necessarily pre-market lows, but this consolidation that we had right going into the open there, 77.6s. So I get stopped out going into 77.40s, breaking that prior high. It only goes about 20 pennies more, but not too worried. It only had about 10% of the position left there. But we are getting that selling coming in aggressively once again off of the highs there. So again, futures in that range, both the ES and the NASDAQ. Wow, look at that selling. Oh my God. So I was just like, oh, the selling is getting absorbed. That's what I was thinking as it was consolidating, holding above 77.40s. But then it gives up that 77.40s, pulls back into 20s, and then just slams right back into 76.90s here on Palantir. But you know what? Let's see what the chart is showing us. We got that aggressive selling off of the open. We make a low 75.7, 75.6 whatever, 75.8 is a higher low. Now, we did break that prior high as well, 77.40s. We break it by about 20 pennies. And then now let's see, as the market consolidates, does Palantir give us a higher low? Does it hold VWAP? Or does it continue to sell off and give us a little bit of that range? So this kind of scalp is done for me, where I was just like, all right, I didn't really feel as confident kind of getting short 77.30s. But again, it works out, seems to be working out really well currently, as we slam right back into VWAP right now. 76.80s currently trading here. So we got a couple of super chats here. So let's we can cover some of those. I don't know if we mentioned Kyle Burdett saying, "Oh boy, bring the pain." Definitely, we know somebody might be short. Short maybe the spiders or the market there. So shout out to Kyle Burdett. Thank you for the super chat there. And Nick W asking, thanks for the look on Holo. Made a nice chunk. I dip bought VKTX for a long-term swing. Neil, what are your thoughts on VKTX and also CRSP? And one last one, Christopher Mulligan with a super chat here. Happy New Year, gentlemen. Cheers to 2025. Cheers to you as well. Happy New Year to you as well. And yeah, today's New Year's Eve here in Toronto. So
well, it's New Year's Eve most places. Well, it's already New Year's if you live out in Australia and New Zealand, and of course, and probably a few other places as we move on. But you know what? And shout out to those super chats. I do want to answer the question. I will get to Viking at one point here, but we always look for trading opportunities out there, and you stick to your guns, but you have to have a plan of action to do that. I think you want to find that plan of action and hone it with a platform like eSignal. You want to trade smarter, not harder. Everyone's trying to upgrade to an elite trading experience. Well, find a platform that gives you reliable data on every single market, on every single equity, using every single indicator that you could possibly imagine with eSignal. It allows you to backtest those strategies once you find them. It allows you to curate a fantastic watch list. And then when you go to execute, I was just showing you on HOLO how I wasn't able to catch the bid when it was at my prices. Well, with Tick Replay, you're able to go back, look at the tape, look at what was happening in the moments when you were trying to trade so that you can refine your execution strategy. So whether you're back testing, whether you're forward testing, whether you're using tick rate play to refine your trading, eSignal is going to be for you. It's about having everything in one place, in one shot with reliable data. That's what eSignal is all about. So don't miss a beat. You want to execute your best trades now. Scan the QR code that you see in front of you. Click the link in the description and take your trading game to a whole nother level like Eugene Struthers. And I'm sure you know who that reference is there, Obi, because doesn't everybody know Eugene Struthers? Of course. Oh, I know. I'm just messing with you. But I appreciate the super chats and thank you. I think it was Nick Dubs. Nick W. was asking about Viking. I'm on the bid again at Nvidia there in VWAP, but I just wanted to go to Viking. So, look, I think I already mentioned this, but I liked the 50 period, so I'm already in this stock. I like the 50 period moving average where it held and had some support. One thing to keep in mind with Viking, this is a potential takeout target that doesn't necessarily have the cash to get their oral to production, right? So they're going to need to raise, which is why you're going to see pressure on the stock, or maybe find a combination. But it is rounding into the 200 period moving average, which is the kind of the bigger go zone. There's your double top here at about 24.25. I think if it loses $25, that's where you get concerned. And even a shot play where you're like, I'm putting an amount in it that I don't mind going to zero, and this is a hero play in my long term, even those require outs. And if it closes under the weekly there, I think that's where you want to give it up. But it's entering the second buy zone down around the $25 level. And like I said, this is one of those stocks where, in my personal opinion, if it heads, if you lose it all, it's that type of a shot play. Because I'm seeing this as if there's a deal done and if they make a breakthrough, it's over $100, easy, maybe a 150. And I think that could be sometime in the next couple of years. But yeah, it is a bit of a risky proposition, that stock. So going back over to Holo, and again, thank you for those super chats. As we were just talking about eSignal, there's your one red candle in HOLO. It just pulled back into 860. So while we were doing that, we might have just missed our chance to get in to Holo without buying an absolute top here. The stock is on one today.
Yeah, definitely. Like we mentioned earlier, a lot of opportunities in the small cap world here. Again, whether to the long side, to the short side, lots of movement, lots of volatility happening here. But something that's not as volatile anymore is that Tesla still trading in and around that 420 mark, 421 currently right here. Okay, so there's some selling coming in once more in the market here, 76.80s here on Palantir. So I'm just looking for whether or not it's going to hold this this VWAP area. VWAP, it's on VWAP right now, 76.80s. So let's see how this one kind of pans out. But the market, you can see, just still trading within its opening range. Let's see what the sectors are doing with Adara with Sector Watch.
It's worth noting here, CNBC discussing Apple and Tim Cook right now. Not speaking to Tim Cook, but just be aware here, AAPL being discussed. It's worth taking a look here at the sector board because this looks distinctly different from what we saw this time yesterday. Every single sector was red. Today, we are actually just seeing a lot of gray, so a lot of flat performance here. Electronic technology and technology services both notably flat, even though Dan Ives of Wedbush gave a lot of these names the nod this morning in its 2025 top AI tech picks. There's a really interesting look there. Finance a little bit green, retail trade pretty flat, commercial services flat, utilities. Health services a little bit of green actually, which is a little bit shocking because the sector has been sold off the entire month of December since the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Health technology pretty green, but Eli Lilly bringing this group to the downside. And now it's time to talk about the sectors that are actually strong on the day because we have a few. Consumer durables here led to the upside by Tesla. Energy minerals, another good look for this sector. We knew they were on watch yesterday with that push up in UNG. Communications and process industries also looking good today. Thank you.
Right, so
Thank you very much, Adara. Appreciate you. There's a few things that are standing out. I saw David Kyle mention another one of these runners just made another fresh high. Well, pulling back a little bit a couple of minutes ago, Onco just made another fresh high. So I think it's halted at maybe twice, at least actually maybe three times, with a couple of down halts in there, believe it or not. Only one up halt and then two down halts, making a fresh top up 360%. Stop me if you heard this before. This is another reverse split, and then now you're bouncing off of the bottoms here. So always be careful with this. I think when they get to those key post-split prices, like the prior bottom here at $3, that's sort of an obvious area on ONCO. This is one where I would pay for locates if it got to $3, because if it does what Mullen did, and spoiler alert, Mullen has almost given everything back. Sometimes these repeat offenders don't last long. They trap people when there's exuberance gapping up, and then this is what happens on the back end. So Mullen has almost closed in the entirety of the gap. It's got about 10 to 15 pennies, and then the rest of it comes in. So we'll be a little bit careful with these reverse split runners. Like, it doesn't really take much to get them going, but then sustaining the buying is usually the problem with those names. So Nvidia now tracking back underneath VWAP. We did take a stop out in here at 137.5, only for it to wick the top and then set back up for a play back into VWAP. So about 75 pennies in the money. I got a bid down at 136.5 to take our next fill. Polo still looking pretty strong. And I'm going to go ahead and check the price of locates at least on that ONCO. Because I know what happened yesterday is I didn't pay for locates on a name I was anticipating could get to the level. When it got there, I didn't have them. Yeah,
so I think that's there was a couple times as well where I'm just like, if there's a name that I like, I'm kind of like curious to know what the short borrows are priced at. Do you ever take a look at that just to feel out like the demand?
I like to see
of
when
the borrows themselves.
Yeah, sometimes if what'll happen is, if there's a big change in the demand on the borrows, like it starts out at like, say just maybe 1 cent a share, and then as the stock goes up, it makes a fresh high at like 11 o'clock, and all of a sudden it's 5 cents. Sometimes you can catch where the turn is if it goes parabolic, that borrows price. Like if I'm going from like 1 cent to 5 cents, all of a sudden it's like 50 cents. Oftentimes it's that kind of a jump that can lead to a bit of a top when it gets a little bit ridiculous how much people are paying to borrow.
Yeah. No, I think
this one's nothing. This is less than 1 cent a share on ONCO.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, and that can definitely give a little bit of information there. Yeah. So nothing happening right now. Nothing too crazy, at least, Neil, as the market just chops in its opening range. We kind of talked about it was only about roughly just slightly over 15 minutes left until we pass it off to the midday how to trade show. And yeah, nothing else too crazy. But yeah, some of the trades off of the open that were absolutely wild was that MSTR trade, MSTR to the downside, a little bit of continuation from where that selling came in prior day as well, that 318 area coming in off of the open 318.59. Yesterday's end of day high, 318.81 there. You can see that selling coming in right once again. So not only has this level sold off the open yesterday, into the close yesterday, off of the open once again today as well. So a little bit of selling happening underneath this 320 level on MSTR. Let's see if that one can continue there. I don't know if we're going to see 300s again on the day, Neil, but I'll definitely be watching for that. Palantir continuing to the downside right here. I got into a little bit of a long here above 77. I'm willing to hold a little bit against me here, as I don't have as much as I had I guess before for the push, but that short trade shows up once again and shows up nicely as we continue to sell off of this 77.5, 60s area here on Palantir. 76.50s currently as the market teeters near its lows, but this is where we found a bit. Multiple times. You can see the past multiple 15-minute candles. This is the area on both the ES and the NASDAQ where we found an aggressive bid back up. Let's see if that shows up again, or do we finally kind of break that trend and pull to the downside here. Tesla as well. We did do a lick grab of that prior high, pushing up into 424s, only to pull back into 418s currently, but technically still making higher lows and higher highs, not counting that opening range high just yet there on Tesla. So inside action nonetheless. Let's see if we get more of that here on Palantir, and let us know in the chat what you guys are trading, and I'm more than willing to take a
Rivian's
look
going
at
nuts
that.
here.
Rivian, yeah, someone in the chat just talking about Lucid.
Lucid, Rivian, both make moves. I just double checked. I didn't really hear anything, or not that there needs to be news for a stock with a short float like this to get going. Okay, so I think Sharif's going to send it to me because I didn't see anything when I checked this one out on Benzinga. unless there's something from yesterday. But either way, it's broken out a nice consolidation level here at 1430. You can see it's a bit of a double top from last week here on Rivian. It's a head and shoulders on the daily. Then this is the next leg of the shoulder if it can get through 1475. So watch this 15.5 level on Rivian. Nice little technical break. Look where it held. It held the line right on that prior resistance. I think this curl on Rivian has still got room. I'm kind of, you never want to be hoping, but this is one where the last time it got to 18, I didn't do any selling. And this time, if it gets to 18, I have this in my long term. I am going to do some selling on Rivian if it gets there. So 8% looking pretty good there today. And I believe Sharif has just sent it to me. So what's the news on Rivian? It's Lucid, actually, with the news. Started deliveries of the Gravity in the U.S. yesterday. So I guess you're just getting dragged up here on Rivian on the Lucid news.
Yeah, we can't forget that delivery numbers are coming out on Thursday, right? So as soon as the market opens back up again after New Year's Day, we get Tesla delivery numbers and I think a few other EVs as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that's definitely something to look forward to. Again, deliveries being one of the top catalysts that Tesla brings.
All EVs, really, yeah.
Yeah, all EVs. I think even more than kind of earnings.
Not to interrupt, Obi, but I got to just a quick update here because this reversion on Nvidia is reverting the reversion, to steal a term from you.
Oh boy.
Where this is the move up, it does the mean reversion, shorted it on the trend line. It just took VWAP. I took some out before it broke the trend line, so I'm holding on to the last 20% of the trade here. But that's a bounce off VWAP and a reversion of trend. If it closes this bar above and holds on to VWAP here, then I want to be covering it. If it holds underneath, then we hold for the lows on Nvidia. But just wanted to give an update on that position as we go to Adara. It's 10:50.
Actually interesting here. Rivian might have a little bit of another catalyst as well. I'm not sure if this is really going to be moving anything, but I'm seeing Benzinga reposted this or talked about this, so I want to mention it. On Sunday, Marquez Brownlee, who is known here for a reviewer, he's also known as the man that killed Fisker. But anyways, Marquez Brownlee basically said that he sold his Cybertruck, and when people asked him on X, he said it's because he likes the Rivian better. Rivian, the official Rivian account on X, got involved in this as well, so RIVN potentially also getting some influencer love anyway. And Marquez Brownlee, it cannot be overstated, as a very important influencer in this vehicle space. Now we're going to take a little bit of a look here at the US dollar as well. This is such a bull flag here on the DXY and the daily chart. We talked about this over the last few days, this push up here, especially with that FOMC rally. Then we have this resistance of right now at 108 halves. 108 halves. Currently around 108.4. So this is a really good look, trying to take out yesterday's top. So we'll have to see if the DXY has this nice push to end 2024. But this is quite the rally off that $100 level that we made back in late September. In terms of news here for the US dollar, there is nothing. It's been a pretty light week just due to the fact that it is a bit of a holiday shortened week. But on January 3rd, we're going to be getting here, so it's going to be Friday, some ISM manufacturing data. Then when we get back here on the 2nd of January on Thursday, we're going to be getting jobless claims and some S&P 500 PMI data. So, or sorry, not S&P 500, S&P. So keep an eye on some PMI data for the rest of the week, and just keep an eye on that DXY bull flag. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adair. Appreciate it. That's actually a much better catalyst for Rivian. I don't know how jazzed I was about it if it was just going up on sympathy. Like, you'd rather there be a little bit more juice than just a sympathy play. But yeah, strong looking trend there on Rivian heading into that $15 level. We'll see where it goes next. I just showed you guys the update on Nvidia. Oh, you're in Palantir.
Yes, sir.
Just about to show. See, the interesting thing about Palantir is it's right back on the 15-minute chart. It never followed through. So yesterday, it bottomed out at 76 when we were short 78. Today, it bottomed out again here, and you're putting in some higher lows on Palantir. I was just about to say it's starting to look good if it can hold on to VWAP, but still have these sharp red candles. I like the fact it's putting higher lows into a stock where it's flat bottoms on PLTR. Well, I did reverse into Palantir yesterday, but I did so at an even dollar level. And as I was just updating you, trend reversal on Nvidia, so it holds on to VWAP. It gave us a 60 short. Our best out was 80s, and now you're right back above VWAP. So it's the reversion of the reversion, to steal a term from Obi. There's your sharp move up. We shorted that move back into VWAP. We're going to get out of Dodge, as now it's proven that it's held on to VWAP. If your reason is to short it, When it broke the trend, when it breaks another trend, I have no issues getting out of it. And David Kyle, you're right. ONCO, yeah, it never got to $3, but it might have halted down. It's still in an upward trend even with the halt down. This is halted down once, twice, now 3 times. And the last couple of times it caught a bid right after halting to the downside. I'm still eyeballing $3 before I would look short on ONCO.
Yeah, so I'm still kind of watching this PLTR. I like, as soon as Neil was like, "Oh, Nvidia breaking that trend," I like that for the confluence there. I looked at the market. I'm like, "All right, well, we're catching a bid exactly where we have been for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 15-minute candles on the ES, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as well on the Nasdaq." So yeah, a bit of a chop in the range, but using that information to kind of to see if things can happen here on equities as well. I like doing that there. Nvidia with a little bit of a turn. Let's see if that comes in with a follow through as well. Apple. Nothing too crazy on Apple as well. A lot of these tickers still trading within their range. Alphabet, very compressive. Tesla, very compressive within range. Amazon as well. Amazon actually kind of flat bottoming. Oh boy, look at that. 221 is a clean bottom there on Amazon. So let's quickly take a look at that one here. AMZN. Yeah, take a look at these bottoms right here on Amazon. A bit of a triple bottom with lower highs building into it as the market kind of teeters in and around its lows here. So going to continue watching that one there. That's interesting as well. But nothing else too crazy going on. Bitcoin at 95 threes currently trading, so nothing going on there. AMD poised for a little bit of a fresh low there on the day. So let's watch that one. SMCI still well within its range. So it does seem like, Neil, that it is small cap season, and Rigetti taking a bit of a pull to the downside. A lot of like rangy and price compressing or compression kind of price action on the day today so far. So far in the morning session, at least, with only about 6 minutes left to go till 11 o'clock here. And yeah, just reading some of the tickers you guys are putting in the chat. Yeah, sure, we can take a quick look at some of those. Let's see, FFIE. We know we were watching that one in the pre-market. Let's take a quick look at how that one is doing and what that's up to. So we did pull back off of that $5 level. Didn't quite get back up to there, making lower highs since then with a current day low at 337s there. So nice. I guess the short is definitely working out on this one there. Somebody else was talking about CVS as well. I don't know what's happening there, but let's go in for a bit of a checkup there on CVS. So 44, nice little push. Wow, that is a bit of a bid happening on
quickly, Obi.
CVS. What's up?
A couple of things happening. Well, we showed what was going on in Rigetti. Holo has now lost VWAP as well. So like, it is what it is. Like, you can want it to bounce somewhere, you can have it lined up, you can see support, but when it loses support, there's just not much you can do. Like, there was never any mean revert, there was never a bid like it was catching before. So I end up not trading HOLO. And if this ends up doing what Mullen did, or what it looks like Rigetti is doing here, you could end up back at some of these lows. I don't know that the short's completely done yet. And there was just there's so many of these happening. There's another halter that I saw in the chat people were mentioning. And we'll go over them. I know people are trading these. BDMD is halted to the upside. But pretty much every single one of these runners that I've been watching so far, they've yet to really follow through very well. So I think this is one of those take your profit where you can, because the continuation play hasn't been that good. This is a little different in that sometimes we've been looking at these breaking out these tops. This is halting going into the prior high at $6.30. So there's a little something up top here where you actually have a level to trade off of with this BDMD. Just be very careful. A lot of these are looking awfully weak when they lose that high of the day break. Example there with HOLO. Example, of course, with Rigetti. Of course, AMD's right back at those lows. AMD is flushing here. Yeah, it's always AMD. Yeah. Like, I'm over there. Like, look, don't get me wrong. Like, Nvidia.
We talked about that range.
No, we did talk about this range, and I know we traded Nvidia to the south side today, and it did work. But AMD continues to hold this trend line. And every chance you get to short into the top of the trend line does make some sense. I think the continuation play, maybe VWAP, certainly a flat bottom break, and to be involved there for this one. And Rivian, yeah, we liked it. Now it's starting to come back. So I think if you're, and again, you can like the catalyst or not like it with Marquez Brownlee giving it some juice, but the prior high is still at 1430. So if you're looking for anything long, I still think finding some kind of a small capper makes sense. The NASDAQ is lower highs, lower lows into a flat bottom. So I still want to give small caps in the second half of the day a bit of a chance. Rivian looks pretty good because unlike Holo lost VWAP, it has a chance to regain it now, but I want a mean revert there or a straight up hold of the prior high. Want to look for the setups that you like. So that's dip buy only strong stocks, trade the shorts at the prices that still set up for you, like Nvidia at VWAP could still come into play for me, but they got to be a little bit patient with only about a minute or two to go here till we fire you guys off to the Bash Brothers.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so like I said, some of these moves coming in quite nicely here. So Palantir, what am I looking at here on Palantir? So this is what we were looking at in the morning session there. Yeah, so this blue line here is VWAP. Let me take care of the rest of these lines here. So we've been kind of orbiting in and around VWAP, but what I liked was that higher low, and now we're kind of picking up a little bit higher here with the market kind of bouncing off of the same areas here. So we didn't quite get back down to 76. We made a higher low. Now we're kind of struggling a little bit with that VWAP for a bid there. But yeah, let's see if that can potentially come in. But what I was looking for was VWAP sellers. Didn't really quite come in as well as I thought. But the pre-market low sellers definitely were nice. And that if you had that idea, you were rewarded a little bit there. So for initially you got that 1.5 all the way down to 76s from 77.5s, and then now you get about a point all the way from 77.5s to 76.50s. But we are making higher lows. See if we make a next higher high as well. Opening range high sitting just shy of that 81. You can see that right off of the open, we attempt to push. So the high here on the opening candle on the 3-minute is 77.95 and then traded at 78.01s just before the open as well. So don't know if we're going to get all the way back there. Let's see if we can. But I like that we're making some of these moves as of right now. But if VWAP stays heavy and sellers kind of come back in on top of VWAP and we get that market tailwind as well, I'm more than willing to kind of be wrong on this ticker here and maybe even get back in short if that's going to be the sentiment. But I'm trying to do a little bit better with identifying what the trend on the day might be and trying to get with it as well. So let's see how this one works out. Like I said, more than willing to be wrong on this idea more than a couple of times to see if it'll work out. But hopefully you guys have had an awesome morning session. And Neil, it is 11 o'clock.
It is 11 o'clock. We're going to fire you off to the Bash Brothers. Two things, Holo and Rivian, same time. They're both getting to prior day highs and looking to make a little bit of a bounce here. The market is going to test those lows almost imminently here. So I know Mr. Burdett's going to be happy for that. Still a small cappers day in terms of the gainers, but watch out. This day is not over. It is a full day of trading today. Just a reminder to everybody. So we are back at 2 o'clock, and we have our aftermarket show just like normal. But for now, let's fire it off to the midday. We've got the Bash Brothers, the Professor, and Joey Options. Go get them.
Yeah.
Ooh. Boom! What is up, beautiful people? Bang. Welcome to How to Trade, the final episode of 2024. That is your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif, and we already have Havana Woody. Boom! Let's make some money, baby. Absolutely. Shout out to Havana. Pumped about that. Kalua, sup? Good morning, folks. Good morning to you as well. 1 hour left in this time zone anyway for the morning. We're going to wait for more